The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
If your world was turned upside down, what would you do?
What the fuck are we gonna do now? Get high?
We are the watching. We are the waiting. We are the remnant, host of vengeful souls forsaken. We'll show no mercy. We'll show no kindness. We'll strip your flesh and leave forgotten bones behind us. We are the uninvited. From both of if you dare, we would be so delighted. We are the uninvited. From both of if you dare, we would be so delighted for the chance to find you in despair. We are the uninvited. From both of if you dare, we would be so delighted for the chance to find you in despair. Despair, you're often in despair.
It was more fun that way.
What happened?
Hello,
Oh.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, we're muted.
Yes.
Oh, we're on mute. So, welcome to the Ganja Gospel, everybody. If you would like, please share and like, share, and subscribe to the channel for sure. And
Sure.
you know, welcome to Ganja Gospel. We did a pre-show where we got real fucking high, man. And Amber Lana here is going to read. I think it's tablet
10.
10.
We're gonna read the 10th tablet. We're gonna do a little summary of what we took care of in the 9th tablet first.
Exactly. You know, just a couple shout outs real quick. You guys want to check out Brain Jerk Entertainment. They're pretty fucking dope, man. And they do all kinds of cool stuff. The network might be interested in what they do. I don't know if you guys could collaborate in some kind of way, but that'd be pretty sweet. Shout out to the Dorkening and Still Toking with Hellfire and all them cats over there, by the way.
Yes.
And
all those links are in the description below. So please
absolutely.
get those likes and shares out for them as well.
Yeah, so, make sure you guys are checking out Brain Jerk Entertainment every day, man. They got all kinds of stuff they talk about, they do wrestling, the taste of, they do so many cool different things, man. Their future is bright. And then we also got painting with squirrels. I woke up yesterday to a music concert in my backyard. I was like, is there a music concert going on? I'm like, people are fucking cheering and clapping and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is happening out here? So check that out if you guys want to fucking do. What's up, Pillow Talk? Hell yeah. If you guys want to do some karaoke fun out there, man, that's pretty fucking awesome, you guys, man.
It was a lot of fun. If you don't drink and you don't go to the bars for karaoke anymore, it's a lot of fun to do some stuff online for it. Saturday nights on Painting with Squirrels.
Yeah, Saturday night.
Or Saturday evenings or Saturdays. Saturdays.
And check me out for the new Saturday Night Live show we're going to be doing.
Yes.
And I'm going to start off on our girl and I'll show you what we've been doing. And then we're going to move into all the fun people that we know and awesome growers that we know throughout the YouTube land. And we're going to be showing their videos because I watched the Creek Water today. And Creek Water, he's loving that Cushy Monster, everybody. Get you some Cushy Monster at thirdeye.strains@gmail.com. And he's loving that Cushy Monster, man. He got all kinds of phenos. He's got one that's an early pheno. The other ones are later. Blueberry is a later pheno. It's a later one. So, you know, it's crappy like that. In Michigan, we have to have shit that's early, you know. So, but yeah, check him out, man. He's got some big stuff growing. And I won't tell you to keep checking out other people because you got to come check out our show Saturday Night Live. So
check out for the grow.
Check these people out. And then, you know, you sub up and follow them and all that good stuff. So today, I believe we're going to learn about Ishtaputin.
Nah.
And that's Noah. I think it's Ishtaputin, one of those dudes' names. And it's Noah in your biblical text. You might know him as whoever the hell you know him as. But this is the story of Noah, the truth, and how Noah knew to build something. He didn't build an ark. No animals went into a boat. None. The only animal that went into a boat was a person, a human animal. And they had a pilot. The pilot is actually the pilot that's been flying Enlil or Enki around space and around Earth this whole time. So he's the one up there piloting this submarine that's tossing and turning and shit like that. It's wild. We're going to hear about this story. And there's a cutoff to this. See, we should be interjecting at this time. We should read this tablet, but then stop like halfway and then read the Book of the Giants. Because the Book of the Giants in this story, right in the middle of this one, there was a battle that happened. And it was a battle of every single thing that lived on this planet. Every person, human type creature that lived on this planet went to war with each other. Humans, giants, fallen angels, whether you call them Agigi fallen angels or whatever you want to call them, and dark ones. You guys think you know what a demon is. You guys think because of religion, you know what a demon is and blah, blah, blah. But in the beginning, there is no demons. There's dark ones. The dark ones are earth spirits that have always been here. Those are tree spirits, water spirits, wind spirits, rock spirits. These things are fucking real.
And they were the OGs.
They were the OGs. And some of them are malevolent.
Not were, they are.
Some of them are malevolent. Some are cool. Some are real nice. Some want to play tricks on you. They'll be like, yeah, I'll be your friend. Let me, what do they call that? Let me possess you.
Oh.
Let me possess you. So they go, okay, cool. I'll possess you. Fly. So I'll possess you. And then when they do, they turn on each other. So you'll have a 3-mile tall giant. He'll get possessed and they'll armor this dude up. They'll strap weapons to him. They'll put full armor on him and have all kinds of weapons strapped to him. This dark one will possess that giant and he'll be like, ha, 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 ha. As soon as that dark one's in control, he'll turn the fuck around and go at the giant's friends. And he's fully armored. It will cut down the whole entire army of that giant, and then before they're able to dismember them. And that's the only way they're able to kill these things is dismemberment. Full dick cut off, arms cut off. That's what they got to do. For some weird reason, they got to cut the dick off. That's the first
like their
thing.
Power staff.
That's the first thing they went for was the cock. They cut their dicks off.
Cut the power.
And it's a war over circumcision is what it is. And it's right in the middle of this story. Like, how Enki like had to like forget about that and just write this story because this is like insane. Like everyone thinks this would be the coolest movie. No, telling you, the coolest movie ever would be The Lost Book of the Giants, the fucking war that happened when the floodwaters rose. That would be the most insane shit to ever watch. I mean, if I could just be fucking sitting on a hill and watching this go down, because there was humans, like our size people. They were giant humans. They were giants that, you know, various sizing from 10 feet all the way up to 3,000 L, whatever they say that was. But in that story, giants grabbed the top of mountains, broke them off, and threw them as boulders. That's what was written. Dude, could just imagine that. Get the fuck, I quit. Why would you fight that war? I quit. I quit. Dude, these humans, our size people, would climb up the legs of these motherfuckers and hack their dicks off and chop, 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 chop until these fucking things would fall, dude. Oh my God. We're going to get to that story. But first, on the Ganja Gospel, Tablet 10, books allowed by Amber Lalana. Amber Lalana, hippie witch. Share this out to your people. This one's going to be good. Strap in, everybody. This is the story of Noah and the great flood that destroyed the world that God never sent. Check this shit out.
But first, the synopsis of the 9th tablet to refresh ourselves. In case you missed last week.
Dick rain, totally.
So last week, mankind proliferates. Adappa's line serves as royalty. Defying Enlil, Marduk espouses an earthling female. Celestial disturbances and climate changes affect Lamu. The Igigi descend to Earth, seize earthling females as wives. The promiscuous Enki begets a human son, Zusudra.
Oh, Zusudra, sorry.
Droughts and pestilences cause suffering on Earth. Enlil sees it as a fated retribution and wants to return home. Ninmah, aged by Earth cycles, also wants to return. A mystery emissary warns them not to defy their destiny. Signs increase of a coming calamitous deluge. Most Anunnaki begin to depart back to Nibiru. Enlil enforces a plan to let mankind perish. Enki and Ninmah start to preserve Earth's seeds of life. The remaining Anunnaki prepare for the day of the deluge. Nergal, Lord of the lower world, is to issue the warning. So that all happened last week.
Nergal equals the devil.
You want to say anything about last week's?
Oh, no.
Okay. So
we're going to do this a little bit different. I'm taking notes and I'm going to talk at the end so she can read fully. Right.
Synopsis of the 10th tablet. The mystery emissary.
Flies, man.
I know they're bad today.
So bitches.
The mystery emissary appears to Enki in a dream vision. Enki is told to save mankind through his son Zusudra. By subterfuge, Enki directs Zusudra to build a submarine. A navigator comes aboard, bringing Earth's seeds of life. Nibiru's approach causes the Whitelands ice sheet to slip. The resulting tidal wave engulfs the Earth with water. The remaining Anunnaki bewail the calamity from Earth orbit.
That means they cry. They were upset.
The waters recede. Zusudra's boat rests on Mount Salvation. Descending in a whirlwind, Enlil discovers Enki's duplicity. Enki convinces Enlil it was destined by the creator of all. They use the surviving landing platform as a temporary base. In a creation chamber there, crops and cattle are fashioned. Abundant gold is discovered in the lands beyond the seas. New space facilities are established in the olden lands. They include 2 artificial mounds and a lion-shaped carving. Ninmah offers a peace plan to resolve erupting rivalries.
Okay, so 1 second here.
Yeah, you're good.
Have you guys ever heard of, the fuck is that called? Damn, I'm going to have to think of what it's called. But she just said that there was a spot that they picked to bring the plants and animals back into creation. They were eggs and sperm and blood is what they had. And they needed to recreate them. And they did that in a spot on this planet that's so far the oldest spot that they have found so far. You know, I forget what it's called, Titiana or some shit. I forget what it's called. But that is a spot where I think and believe is that what they're talking about right there. Oh, shit. I have to look it up, but go ahead, baby.
The 10th tablet. In Sipar.
Remember, Sipar, right? Most important place in our fucking history. Like, why people haven't gone there and dug is beyond me. Go ahead, baby.
In Sipar, all the Anunnaki gathered. The day of the deluge they awaited. It was at that time, as the tension of the awaiting was mounting, that the Lord Enki, asleep in his quarters, had a dream vision. In the dream vision, there appeared the image of a man, bright and shining like the heavens. And as the man Enki approached, Enki saw that the white-haired Galzu he was. In his right hand, an engraver's stylus he was holding. And in his left hand, a tablet of lapis lazuli, shining smooth, he held. And as he approached near enough by Enki's bed to stand, Galzu spoke up and said, "Unwarranted your accusations against Enlil were, for only the truth he spoke. And the decision that as Enlil's decision will be known, not he, but destiny decreed. Now into your hands fate take, for the earthlings the earth will inherit. Summon your son, Susudra, without breaking the oath to him the coming calamity reveal. A boat that the watery avalanche can withstand, a submersible one to build him tell, the likes of which on this table to you I am showing. Let him in it save himself and his kinfolk, and the seed of all that is useful, be it plant or animal, also take. That is the will of the creator of all." And Galzu, in the dream vision, with the stylus on the tablet, an image drew, and placed the engraved tablet by the side of Enki's bed. And after that, the image faded, the dream vision ended, and Enki, with a shudder, awoke. In his bed, Enki for a while lying remained. With wonder, the dream vision he pondered. What was there of the meaning? What omen did it hold? Then, as off his bed he stepped, lo and behold, there was the tablet. What in a mere dream vision he had seen now by his bedside materially was. With trembling hands, the Lord Enki, the tablet picked up. A design of a curious-shaped boat upon the tablet he saw. By the tablet's edge, measuring markings there were, the boat's measures indicating. Austere with awe and hope, the Lord Enki by sunrise for his emissaries quickly sent. Find the one called Galzu, and to him I must speak. So to them he said. By sundown all came back, to Enki thus reporting. None Galzu to find was able. Galzu, they said, to Nibiru did long ago return. Greatly baffled Enki was, the mystery and its omen to understand he strove. Unravel the mystery he could not, yet the message to him was clear. That night to the reed hut where Susudra was sleeping, Enki stealthily went. The oath not breaking, the Lord Enki not to Susudra, but to the hut's walls spoke. Wake up, to the reed wall Enki was saying. From behind the reed screen he was speaking. When Susudra by the words was awakened, to him Enki from behind the reed screen said, Reed hut, to my words pay attention, to my instructions heed pay. On all the habitations over the cities, a calamitous storm will sweep. The destruction of mankind and its offspring it will be. This is the final ruling, the word of the assembly by Enlil convened. This is the decision by Anu and Enlil and Ninmah spoken. Now heed my words. Observe the message that to you I am speaking. Abandon your house, build a boat, spurn possessions, save the life. The boat that you must build, its design and measurements on a table are shown. By the reed hut's wall, the table I shall leave. Make sure that the boat shall be roofed throughout. The sun from the inside must not be seen. The tackle must be very strong, the pitch strong and tight to ward off the water. Let the boat be one that can turn and tumble, the watery avalanche to survive. In 7 days build the boat. Into it your family and kinfolk gather. In the boat food and water for drinking heap up. Household animals also bring. Then on the appointed day, a signal to you shall be given. A boat guide who knows the waters, by me appointed to you that day will come. On that day, the boat you must enter. Its hatch tightly close you must. An overwhelming deluge coming from the south, lands and life shall devastate. Your boat from its moorings it shall lift. The boat in shall turn and tumble. Fear not, to a safe haven the boat guide will navigate you. By you shall the seed of civilized mankind survive. When Enki's voice fell silent, agog was Zecharia. On his knees prostrate he fell. My Lord, he shouted, your voice I heard. Let me see your face. Not to you, Zecharia, have I spoken. To the reed wall did I speak. So Enki said, by Enlil's decision, by an oath upheld, am I bound to that all that Anunnaki swore. If my face you shall see, surely, like all earthlings, you will die. Now, reed hut, to my words pay heed. The purpose of the boat, a secret of the Anunnaki, with you must remain. When the townspeople will inquire, to them you will so say, the Lord Enlil, with my Lord Enki, has angry been. To Enki's abode in the Abzu I am sailing. Perchance Enlil will be appeased. For a while a silence followed. Zecharia from behind the reed wall came, a tablet of lapis lazuli in the moonlight shining. He saw and picked up. The image of a boat upon it was drawn. Notches its measurements gave. Wisest of civilized men was Zecharia. What he had heard, he understood. In the morning, to the townspeople, he so announced. The Lord Enlil with the Lord Enki, my master, angry has been. On that account to me, the Lord Enlil is hostile. In this city I no longer reside can, nor in the Eden my foot set any more. To the Abzu, the Lord Enki's domain, I will there a sailing go. In a boat that must quickly be built, I will away from here depart. Thereby the Lord Enlil's anger will subside, hardships will end. Upon you the Lord Enlil abundance henceforth will shower. The morning was not yet gone when the people about Zecharia gathered. To speedily for him the boat build they each other encouraged. Timbers of boat wood the elders were hauling, the little ones bitumen from the marshes carried. As woodworkers the planks together hammered, Zecharia in a cauldron the bitumen melted. With bitumen the boat he waterproofed inside and out. As in the drawing upon the tablet, the boat on the 5th day was completed.
5 days.
Eager to see Zecharia depart, the townspeople to the boat food and the water brought. From their own mouths sustenance they took. To appease Enlil, they were in a hurry. 4-legged animals into the boat were also driven. Birds from the field by themselves flew in. Into the boat Zecharia, his spouse and sons made embark. Their wives and children also came. Any who to the abode of the Lord Enki wished to go, let them too aboard come. So did Zecharia to the gathered people announce. Envisioning Enlil's abundance, only some of the craftsmen the call heeded. On the 6th day, Ningal, lord of the great waters, to the boat came. A son of Enki he was. To be the boat's navigator he was selected.
What was his name?
Ningal, Ninagal, Lord of the great waters. A box of cedar wood in his hands he held. By his side in the boat he kept it. The life essences and life eggs of living creatures it contains, by the Lord Enki and Ninmah collected. Do you want to talk?
No.
I'm almost done with this first part. From the wrath of Enlil to be hidden, to life resurrect of earth be willing. So did Ninagal to Susudra explain. Thus were all beasts by their twos in the boat hidden. Now Ninagal and Susudra in the boat, the arrival of the 7th day awaited. In the 120th Shar was the deluge awaited. In the 10th Shar, and the life age of Susudra was the deluge forthcoming. In the station of the constellation of the Lion was the avalanche looming.
What is that?
Then in case you want.
Oh, yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay. We have a new way of doing things. Now this is the account of the deluge that over the earth swept, and how the Anunnaki escaped, and how Susudra in the boat survived. 4 days before the day of the deluge, the earth was rumbling. Groaned.
4 days or
4 days. Not 4 days, just for days before.
for days?
Yeah,
For days.
for days. For days before the day of the deluge, the earth was rumbling, groan as with pain it did. For nights before the calamity struck, in the heavens Nibiru as a glowing star was seen. Then there was a darkness in daytime, and at night the moon as though by a monster was swallowed. The earth began to shake. By a net force before unknown it was agitated. In the glow of dawn, a black cloud arose from the horizon. The morning's light to darkness changed, as though by death's shadow veiled. Then the sound of a rolling thunder boomed. Lightning the skies lit up. Depart, depart, Utu to the Anunnaki gave his signal. Crouched in the boats of heaven, the Anunnaki heavenward were lofted. In Shurubak, 18 leagues away, the bright eruptions by Ninagal were seen. Button up the hatch, Ninagal to Susudra shouted. Together the trap door that the hatch concealed they pulled down. Watertight and closed completely was the boat. Inside not a ray of light penetrated. On that day, on that unforgettable day, the deluge with a roar began. In the white land, at the earth's bottom, the earth's foundations were shaking. Then, with a roar to 1,000 thunders equal, off its foundations the ice sheet slipped. By Nibiru's unseen net force, it was pulled away into the South Sea, crashing. One sheet of ice into another ice sheet was smashing. The whiteland's surface, like a broken eggshell, was crumbling. All at once a tidal wave arose. The very skies was the wall of waters reaching. A storm, its ferocity never before seen, at the earth's bottom began to howl. Its winds the wall of water were driving. The tidal wave northward was spreading. Northward was the wall of waters onrushing. The Abzu lands it was reaching. Therefrom toward the settled lands it traveled. The Eden it overwhelmed. When the tidal wave, the wall of waters, Shurubak reached, the boat of Susudra, the tidal wave from its moorings lifted, tossed it about like a watery abyss. The boat it swallowed. Though completely submerged, the boat held firm. Not a drop of water into it did enter. Outside the storm's wave, the people overtook like a killing battle. No one in his fellow man could see. The ground vanished. There was only water. All that once on the ground stood by the mighty waters away was swept. Before day's end, the watery wall, gathering speed, the mountains overwhelmed. In their celestial boats, the Anunnaki, the earth, were circling. Crowding the compartments against the outer walls, they crouched. What was happening upon the earth down below to see they strained. From the celestial boat in which she was, Ninmah, like a woman in travail, cried out. This is going to make me cry because this is emotional.
So that's the weeping stone. There's an actual stone that they created to depict Nimma because she loved humans. She loved the people. And this is when the gods started loving people. And Enki hated them, hated the people, like he said. And, God, the people made too much noise. They were noisy. Imagine a bunch of giants eating everybody, cutting all the fucking trees down and shit, burning everything. All the wars that were happening. You know what I mean? That's what God was talking about, that people were noisy. It was too much of like, they were there for a mission to mine gold. And all of a sudden there was all this other shit happening that he had no control over. So he was like, man, we fuck that. We're going to let these motherfuckers die. But all of them didn't want that. Most of the Anunnaki were like, hey, man, that's some bullshit. So when they went up in the sky, they were like, oh my God, everyone's fucking dying. We could literally just go down there and pick them up. Imagine all the people floating in the water, trying to survive, and all the fucking creatures of the deep oceans coming and eating them. Damn. Go ahead, babe.
From the celestial boat in which she was, Ninmah, like a woman in travail, cried out, my created, like drowned dragonflies in a pond the waters fill. All life by the rolling sea wave away was taken. Thus did Ninmah cry and moan. Inanna, who was with her, also cried and lamented.
Yep.
Everything down below, all that lived, has turned into clay. Thus did Ninmah and Inanna weep. It's sad. They wept and eased their feelings. Us girls got to stick together. And the other celestial boats, the Anunnaki, by the sight of unbridled fury, were humbled. A power greater than theirs they with awe those days witnessed. For the fruits of earth they hungered. For fermented elixir they thirsted. The olden days, alas, to clay have turned. So to each other, the Anunnaki said.
What did it say again?
The olden days, alas, to clay have turned.
Pay attention to that. I'm going to touch on that.
After the immense tidal wave that over the earth swept, the sluices of heaven opened. A downpour from the skies upon the earth was unleashed. For 7 days, the waters from above with the waters of the great below were mingled. Then the wall of water, its limits reaching, its onslaught ceased. But the rains from the skies for 40 more days and nights continued. From their perches, the Anunnaki looked down. Where there were dry lands, now was a sea of water. And where mountains once to the heavens their peaks raised, their tops now like islands were in the waters. And all that on the dry lands was living in the avalanche of waters perished. Then, as in the beginning, the waters to their basins were gathered. Waving back and forth day by day, the water level came lower. Then, 40 days after the deluge over the earth swept, the rains also stopped. After the 40 days, Zecharia, the boat's hatch opened, his whereabouts to survey. A bright day it was. A gentle breeze was blowing. All alone, with no other sign of life, the boat upon a vast sea was lolling. Mankind, all living things off the earth face were wiped out. No one except us few survived, but there is no dry land to set a foot upon. So did Zecharia to his kinfolk say as he sat down and lamented. At that time, Ninigol by Enki appointed, the boat toward the twin peaks of Arata directed. A sail for her he shaped, toward the mount of salvation he the boat guided. Impatient Zecharia was. Birds that were on board he released to check for dry land, for surviving vegetation to verify he sent them. He sent forth a swallow, he sent forth a raven, both to the boat returned.
Pay attention.
He sent forth a dove with a twig from a tree, to the boat it returned.
There's your shit right there.
Now Zecharia knew that the dry land from the waters Now Zecharia knew that the dry land from under the waters had emerged. A few more days, and the boat by rocks was arrested. The deluge is over, and at the mount of salvation we are. So did Ninigol to Zecharia say. Opening the watertight hatch from the boat, Zecharia emerged. The sky was clear, the sun was shining, a gentle wind was blowing. Hurriedly upon his spouse and children he to come out called. The Lord Enki, let us praise. To him thanks give, to them, Sisudra said. With his son's stones he gathered. With them an altar he built. Then a fire on the altar he lit. With aromatic incense he made a fire. A ewe lamb, one without blemish, for a sacrifice he selected. And upon the altar to Enki the ewe lamb as a sacrifice he offered. At that time Enlil from his celestial boat to Enki words conveyed. Let us in whirlwinds from the celestial boats upon the peak of Arata descend. The situation to review, what to be done to determine. While the others in their celestial boats to the earth to circuit continued. Enlil and Enki to whirlwinds upon the peak of Arata descended. Smiling the two brothers met, with joy their arms they locked. Then Enlil by the whiffs of fire and roasting meat was puzzled. What is that? To his brother he shouted. Has anyone the deluge survived? Let us go and see, meekly to him Enki responded. In their whirlwinds to the other peak of Arata they flew over. The boat of Sisudra they saw. By the altar that he had built they landed. When Enlil the survivors saw, Ninagal among them, his fury no bounds had. Every earthling had to perish. He with fury shouted. At Enki with anger he lunged. To kill his brother with his bare hands he was ready. He is no mere mortal, my son he is, Enki to Sisudra pointing, cried out. For a moment Enlil was hesitating. You broke your oath, at Enki he shouted. To a reed wall I spoke, not to Sisudra, Enki said. Then to Enlil the dream vision related. By Ninagal alerted. Ninurta and Ninmah in their whirlwinds also touched down. When the account of events they heard, Ninurta and Ninmah by the account were not angered. The survival of mankind, the will of the creator of all must be. So did Ninurta to his father say. Ninmah, her necklace of crystals, a gift of Anu, touched and swore. On my oath, the annihilation of mankind shall never be repeated.
You heard that, right? You heard that. That's what I was talking about. They're not going to let this happen again. They're not going to let this happen again.
Relenting, Enlil by the hands Sisudra and Emzara, his spouse, took and blessed them thus. Be fruitful and multiply, and the earth replenish. Thus were the olden times ended. Do you want to talk about it? Okay. I need a drink real quick.
Yeah. Okay, I'll talk.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm getting that from. Like, they're not going to let this happen again. They were so upset that all those people got wiped out. Yeah, we hear stories about giants and cool ass monsters that, you know, I'll tell you all the time. If I was standing in front of this shit, I quit. I quit. I'm not fucking fighting that shit, dude. But nonetheless, you know, the Anunnaki were way powerful beings. So these things were all just toys and pets to them. They were harmless. Look at the son of the Anunnaki. Okay, we got King Og. He had a fucking lion as a pet cat. That's how big he was. That's how, not only how tall he was. Okay, when we have a cat, right? Cats rip our skin open. Just a normal house cat. You got to get it declawed and shit, right? Imagine how strong your skin would have to be to hold a fucking lion under your arm like it's the size of a fucking house cat, and that lion has got its claws. That's how it's actually holding onto you. It's got its claws dug into you. Imagine how strong your skin would have to be that you're not completely getting shredded from that fucking lion. And lions today are half or more smaller. They're half the size of the ancient lions. Those ancient lions were like 8 foot tall, standing on all fours. They were huge, huge beasts, you know. So just think of that, you know. These were powerful beings. So all these beings that were on the planet, they loved them. Some of them loved them. And you hear Lord Enlil. He was so mad at his brother, Lord Enki. He wanted to kill him. If no one stopped him, he would have tried to kill him. And it's just fascinating that they were on this other mountain over here and they smelled the meat. They're like, barbecue, what's happening? They came over and they was like, hold up. Why is there a white dude cooking that bomb ass barbecue? Where's all the black people at? I think that's why Noah was pissed though. You know, Noah was pure white. The only survivors were him and his family. His wife was probably a melanated person. His kids were mixed. You know what I'm saying? So possibly that's why I was pissed. All of the slaves got wiped out and there was only this one fucking line left, you know? But that's not truth though. The truth of it is all around the planet, there's this flood story and there's one surviving family from that area. I don't care if it's the South Pacific. There could be an island that we ain't even found yet. And we go there and we're going to have a flood story about some family that survived. And that's how people live there now. It's insane. All across the planet, there's this damn flood story. It can't be just rewritten from this one spot because it says that this family from this specific area disconnected from over there, this one person survived. And it's not Zasudra. It's not Noah. This dude's another dude. You know, and that family survived. So it's very interesting to me. Plus Enlil or Enki, he played the little trickery, tomfoolery, or whatever you call it. He's like, I'm not talking to you, Noah. I'm talking to this Reed Hut, bro. You just make sure you write this shit down. I was like, you stoner ass. He's smoking.
Like, he was told, like, do it in a way that you don't break the oath. How do you tell someone you're not supposed to tell?
You tell them, but you saying it at the wall. You just talk out loud. Make sure you're paying attention to me while I'm talking out loud, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't, you're fucked. You know, so that shit just, all this shit right here blows my mind. And to hear that the women, they were weeping, like Inanna. I think the actual weeping stone is of Inanna, not Nimma. But the fact remains that they loved the humans that they created. They had whole cities. Paris, that's where Inanna lived. Like Enlil was like, yo, you want a whole city? All right, go over there. We're not doing shit over there. You go over there. And what'd she do? She took the me formulas. She grabbed me formulas. She went over there, grabbed the creature that they made people from, put it in the science project, put the meson into it, created her own motherfucking people. That's the French people. That's the whole area over there way back when. That was Par Isis, right? Paris. That's Paris. Par Isis. Go ahead, baby. Okay. Now, for the conclusion of Tablet 10 and a big fat joint. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ganja Gospel. Happy Sunday. This is Books Aloud by Amber Lalana, the beautiful hippie witch.
Hello.
The hostess with the most is.
Now, this is the account of how survival on Earth was restored.
Cheers, teacher.
And how a new source of gold and other earthlings beyond the ocean were found.
Okay, so one second. Remember, there was a flood.
Hi, Annie.
Everything was wiped out, okay? And they said they had to find a platform, the only platform that was left. I'm going to touch on all this later, okay? So they had to find the only platform that was left. And they're like, shit, where are we going to get the gold from? All that shit that was there was buried. Remember, it was all buried. Everything got fucking covered over. The whole planet was covered over. And they were like, shit, what are we going to do? This is where they find another place. Now, you heard it before. Everyone thinks that North American ice sheets are the ones that slipped and flooded the planet. You heard it. They said the South rumbled so fucking hard and those ice sheets slipped first, right? Making the North pull. And those ice sheets crashed into the South Sea, which caused a tidal wave from the south to go to the north, right? Flip the planet upside down, and that completely makes sense. But what they're saying is like from Antarctica like a wave came, but you'd have to flip the planet upside down, and then it completely makes sense of what they're saying compared to what geology and our history tells us of where this flood came from and how shit came down and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting to hear that stuff. So here's after the flood, what they had to do, who came and built the pyramids of Egypt, and why, and how. Pay attention. You're going to find the fucking Millennium Falcon in this bitch.
Now, this is the account of how survival on Earth was restored and how a new source of gold and other earthlings beyond the oceans were found.
Cheers.
It was after the encounter at Arata that the waters of the deluge to recede continued, and the face of the earth gradually from under the waters was showing. The mountain lands were mostly unscathed, but the valleys under mud and silt were buried. From the celestial boats and from the whirlwinds, the Anunnaki, the landscape surveyed. All that in the olden times in the Eden and the Abzu had existed under the mud was buried. Eridu, Nibruki, Shurubak, Sipar, all were gone, completely vanished. But in the Cedar Mountains, the great stone platform in the sunlight glistened. The landing place in the olden times established was still standing. One after another, the whirlwinds upon the platform landed. The platform was intact. At the launch corner, the huge stone blocks held firm. Clearing debris, the tree branches away, the first to land to the chariots signaled. One after the other, the celestial chariots came. Upon the platform, they touched down. Then to Marduk on Lamu and Nanar on the moon, words were sent, and they too to earth returned. Upon the landing place, they came down.
On the moon.
Now the Anunnaki and Ikiki...
On the moon, chilling.
Chilling,
waiting on the moon.
Now the Anunnaki and Ikiki, who were thus gathered by Enlil to assembly, were called. The deluge we have survived, but the earth is devastated. So did Enlil to them say. All ways to recover we must assess, be it on earth, be it elsewhere. Lamu, by the passage of Nibiru, was devastated. So did Marduk relate. Its atmosphere was sucked out, its waters thereafter evaporated. A place of dust storms it is.
Where?
Lamu.
Mars.
Yes. The moon by itself life cannot sustain. Only with an eagle mask is stayed. The moon by itself life cannot sustain. Only with eagle masks is staying enabled.
So that's a helmet with breathing apparatuses, a space helmet. So when you hear him say the Eagle's helmet, Eagle's mask, that's a spaceship helmet. That's so they can go in the sky with no oxygen and still breathe. Okay, this is just amazing shit. Spaceships in ancient history.
So did Nanar to the others give account give, and then words of enamor he added. Once there, that it was Tiamat's host, leader, once must recall. Of earth a companion it is, with it earth's destiny is connected. Lovingly Enlil on his son's shoulders his arm put, with survival now we are concerned. So did Enlil to Nanar mildly retort, now sustenance is our first concern.
Food.
Let us the sealed creation chamber examine. Perchance Nibiru's seeds we shall still find.
Yeah.
So did Enlil to Enki say, of the grains once created him reminding. At the side of the platform, clearing some mud, the shaft from times remote they found. The stone that blocked it, they lifted off. The sanctuary they entered.
It's insane.
The diorite chests with seals were fastened. The seals with a copper key they made open. Inside the chests, in crystal vessels, the seeds of Nibiru's grain were there.
Wow.
Once outside, to Ninurta Enlil the seeds gave. To him, he was thus saying.
Dude, that's amazing.
I know. Go, the mountainside terrace. Let the grains of Nibiru once again bread provide. In the Cedar Mountains, on other mountains too, Ninurta waterfalls dammed. Terraces constructed. The eldest son of Zusudra to raise crops he taught. To Ishkur, his youngest, Enlil another task assigned. Where the waters have receded, go, and remaining fruit-bearing trees find. To him, as fruit cultivator, Zusudra's youngest son was assigned. The first fruit they found, the vine that by Ninmah was brought it was. Of its juice, as the Anunnaki elixir renowned, Zasudra took sip. By one sip, then another and another, Zasudra was overpowered. Like a drunkard, he fell asleep.
Okay, so that's ayahuasca. That's ayahuasca. People are going to say that's a grapevine. No, that said from the vine's juice. So it never said from the fruit's juice. It's from the vine's juice. So there's only one vine that we know that we make this drink from. That's ayahuasca, baby. I'm telling you, that's what they brought from the Nibiru.
They do specifically say fruit-bearing trees. Fine.
That's what Ham did. So that's Ham. Noah's youngest son, Ham, supposedly went to Africa and made all the Africans, somehow they turned black because of the sun's rays and shit. Well, I feel the same sun's rays. Why am I so goddamn pink? You know what I'm saying? I look like a pygmy pink pig or something, man. You know what I'm saying? So, afterwards, though, that's when they were looking for the vine. If you read that little part again.
Yeah, I'm going to. Where the waters have receded, go and remaining fruit-bearing trees find. To him, as fruit cultivator, Zasudra's youngest son was assigned.
So that's Ham. They assigned him to be a fruit bearer.
The first fruit they found, the vine that by Ninmah was brought, it was.
Yes.
Of its juice, as the Anunnaki's elixir renowned, Zasudra took a sip. By one sip, then another and another, Zasudra was overpowered. Like a drunkard, he fell asleep. Then a gift to Anunnaki and Earthlings Enki presented. The chest that Ningal had carried he unveiled. Its surprising contents to all he announced. The life essences and life eggs in the wombs of the four-legged animals from Zasudra's boat can be combined. Sheep for wool and meat will multiply. Cattle for milk and hides will all have. Then, with other living creatures, the earth we shall replenish. To Dumuzi, the shepherding tasks Enki gave, and the task was Zasudra's middle son assisting. Then to the dark-hued landmass, where his and his son's domains had been, Enki his attention turned. With Ningal, at the confluence of mighty waters, the mountains he dammed. Fierce waterfalls to a lake he channeled to let the waters as a lake accumulate. Then the lands between the Abzu and the great sea with Marduk he surveyed, where habitations once were, the river's valley now to drain he considered. At midstream, where the river's waters cascaded, an island from the waters he raised. In its bowels twin caverns he carved out. Above them from stones sluices he fashioned. From there 2 channels in the rocks he cut. For the waters 2 narrows he fashioned. Thus the flowing waters from the highlands coming he could slow or let go faster. With dams and sluices, and to the 2 narrows the waters he regulated.
You guys know what this is? Oh man, this is amazing.
From the cavern island, the island of Abu, the river's serpentine valley from under the waters he raised. In the land of the 2 narrows, for Dumuzi and the shepherds, a habitation did Enki fashion. With satisfaction did Enlil all this to Nibiru word send. With words of concern, Nibiru responded. The close passage that Earth and Lamu effected on Nibiru too much damage caused. The shield of gold dust was torn. The atmosphere was dwindling again. Now new supplies of gold quickly were needed. Fervently to the Abzu Enki went. With Gibil, his son, to survey and search he journeyed. All the gold mines were gone. By the avalanche of water they were buried. In the Eden, Bad Tabira, 2 no longer existed. In Sipar, a place for the chariots was no more. The hundreds of Anunnaki who in the mines and Bad Tabira toiled from the earth were gone. The multitude of earthlings, as primitive workers serving by the deluge, were to clay turned. No gold can from earth any more be provided. So did Enlil and Enki to Nibiru announce. On earth and on Nibiru there was desperation. At that time, Ninurta his tasks in the mountains of cedars completed, to the mountain land beyond the oceans once again journeyed. From that land on the other side of earth, astounding words he delivered. The avalanche of waters, deep cuts into the mountainside there tore. From the mountainsides and uncounted gold in nuggets large and small, to the rivers below fell down.
Okay, hold that sentence right there. You heard that, right? They went around the planet and they found this one spot on Earth. Remember, they're in the Middle East. They look at all that. That's open land. They can just walk all that shit. Everything open there, over there, they could just walk. They had to get in their ships, spaceships, and fly over to North and South America, where they're like, yo, there's this spot right here. When the flood happened, it cut deep ass grooves into the fucking ground right here. All this gold's just right here, bro. It's called the Grand Canyon. Holy fucking shit. Let's go mine that motherfucker. Dude.
Without mining can the gold be hauled. Enlil and Enki to the distant mountain land hurried. With amazement they the discovery viewed. Gold, pure gold, refining and smelting, not requiring. All about was lying. A miracle it was, so was Enki to Enlil, saying,
A miracle. A miracle.
What by Nibiru was wrought, by Nibiru was amended.
America. A miracle. America. Wow.
The unseen hand of the creator of all. It is life on Nibiru to enable. So did Enlil say. Now who could collect the nuggets? How to Nibiru they will be sent? The leaders each other asked.
Imagine what size they were.
For them to be nuggets.
Dude, we're if anything, we're half the size of them. If anything. I believe they were 3 times the size of us, though, about 25 feet tall. Go ahead,
no, that's okay. Of the first question, Ninurta had the answer. In the high mountain land on this side of Earth, some earthlings had survived. Descendants of Cain, they are.
Cain.
With the handling of metals, they are knowing.
Hold on, repeat it.
Okay. Now, who could collect the nuggets? How of Nibiru will be sent? The leaders each other asked. Of the first question, Ninurta had the answer. In the high mountain land on this side of the earth, some earthlings have survived. Descendants of Cain, they are. With the handling of metals, they are knowing. 4 brothers and 4 sisters are their leaders. On rafts, they themselves saved. Now their mountaintop in the midst of a great lake is an island. As the protector of their forefathers, they me recall. The great protector, they call me. By the report that other earthlings had survived, the leaders were heartened.
Hold on, stop right there for a second. You know, what's his name? Ninurta? You know Ninurta as the feathered serpent, Lord Kukulkan, whatever the fuck all those different ones called him. He's the same thing. He is Lord Kukulkan, Ninurta. He was the one, Lord Enki was like, yo, go find the people of Cain and make sure you train them. He told them this a long time ago, like fucking thousands and thousands of years ago. He told them to go find the people of Cain and train them how to fucking mine gold and teach them how to be civil. So he did. I believe in the island of Mu, right? In the Polynesian Islands. I think he created the Asian people, the Polynesians, any motherfuckers that can't grow a beard. And nowadays, we've mixed so many of our cultures that these people can grow beards now. But their ancestors, no, they were beardless people. That's why they're so smooth skinned and they look so young. They didn't have all this shit, right? For real. So he created all these motherfuckers. So what did Ninurta do? He went over, grabbed these motherfuckers. They were uncivilized and barbaric. Like he trained them and made them civil, taught them how to build a boat, a real boat, the first boat builders, which sailed across the fucking ocean to North and South America. They became the Mayans and Aztecs and all those other people. Okay. So now when they come over, they are like, oh, look, there's North America. Oh, there's a huge gash in the land right here. We are the only place that has that huge gash. It would still be here today in South America somewhere. Not saying that's not where they went. That's exactly where they went with South America. But here, California Gold Rush, we literally found the scraps. We found the dust that they left behind. You know what I'm saying? We found shit of garbage that they left. That's what they left here for, whatever. You know what I mean? There's still some in the mountain. Yeah, sure. They found billions and millions of dollars of worth. Imagine the gazillions. I don't even know what word you could say for the ungodly amounts of cold monetary money they took off of this fucking rock. Why are we floating away? More people. I think that's why they got to make more people, though, because make up for the gold. But anyway.
A lot of weight gone, for sure.
But anyway, so they went over, and the nerd was like, yo, there's already the people. They survived on the very tops of the mountains. What mountain would I be talking about in South Carolina, South America, right? This is where the motherfucking Aztec or whatever those people went way the fuck up, Chichen Itza or whatever that shit is, way the fuck up in the damn mountains, in the clouds, people. And that's right below is this lake. Right, we're gonna study all this. If I had it pulled up with the sharing thing, I would pull it up in. So maybe we'll do that after discussion. I just want to put you in the right realm. We are in North America now. You go to Canada. This is the river they're talking about. Jesus is about to die in this motherfucking river on a goddamn what's that river that goes down? The flood, the falls, the Niagara Falls. Jesus is about to die in this motherfucker real soon. You're going to see Jesus about to die on the Niagara Falls, baby. But look, Niagara Falls wasn't where it was. It could have been all the way down in Ohio at that specific time. And you can go to Canada right now, and you can find that motherfucking platform she's about to tell you about right here. Inanna built this motherfucker.
As the protector of their forefathers, they me recall. The great protector, they call me. By the report that other earthlings had survived, the leaders were heartened. Even Enlil, who the end of all flesh planned, was no longer angered. It is the will of the creator of all, to each other they said. Now let us a new place for celestial chariots establish. Therefrom the gold to Nibiru send. For a new plain whose soil has dried and hardened, they searched. In the proximity of the landing place, in a desolate peninsula, such a plain they found. Flat as a quiet lake it was. By white mountains it was surrounded. Now this is the account of the new place of the celestial chariots, and the artificed twin mounts, and how the image of the lion by Marduk was usurped. In the peninsula, by the Anunnaki chosen, the heavenly ways of Anu and Enlil on earth were reflected. Let the new place of the chariots precisely on that boundary be located.
North America.
Let the heart of the plain the heavens reflect. So did Enlil to Enki suggest. Once Enki to this agreed, Enlil from the skies of distances took measures. On a tablet a grand design for all who see he marked out. Let the landing place in the Cedar Mountains be a part of the facilities, he said. The distance between the landing place and the chariot place he measured. In the midst thereof, a place for a new mission control center he designated.
1 second, real quick. Now, a lot of people always say, how the hell did they build these things so precise? And we couldn't fly at that time. Maybe they had hot air balloons. That's all very possible, right? But no, they got in their motherfucking spaceship. They went up, they looked at the sky, and they took a picture. They recorded it on their lapis lazuli on crystal. They recorded shit on crystal. That's what you should hear. They recorded it on crystal. Fuck the lapis lazuli shit. They recorded shit in crystal. They looked up, took a picture. They looked down. They shot it on the ground, like if you were to like draw some shit on the wall and you had it going through a photo projector. They shot it on the ground and they built. It was that fucking easy. Go ahead, dude. You want this? Wow, it was chattering along. I gave you the weed.
In the midst thereof, a place for a new mission control center he designated. There a suitable mount he selected. The Mount of Way Showing, he named it.
Mount of Way Showing.
A platform of stones, akin but smaller than the landing place, to be built there he ordered.
Man, shit's crazy.
In its midst, a great rock was carved inside and out. To house a new bond heaven Earth, it was made. A new navel of the Earth, the role of Nibruki before the deluge, to replace. The landing path on the twin peaks of Arata and the north were anchored. To demarcate the landing corridor, Enlil 2 others set of twin peaks required. To delimit the landing corridor's boundary, ascent and descent to secure. In the southern part of the desolate peninsula, a place of mountains, twin adjoining peaks Enlil selected. On them the southern delimit he anchored. Where the second set of twin peaks was required, mountains there were none. Only a flat land above the water-clogged valley from the ground protruded. Artificial peaks thereon we can raise. So did Ningazita to the leader say. On a tablet, the image of smooth-sided, skyward raising peaks for them he drew. Of it can be done. Let it so be. Enlil with approval said. Let them also be beacons serve. On the flat land above the river's valley, Ningazita a scale model built. The rising angles and 4 smooth sides with it he perfected. Next to it, a larger peak he placed, its sides to the earth's 4 corners he set. By the Anunnaki, with their tools of power, were its stones cut and erected.
What? No fucking chicken bones and rocks and copper tools?
No.
Oh, 1 second. So listen, if you guys don't know what the fuck's happening, when Nibiru, I have to stop you here because this is right on the point. They might not know what I'm talking about later. Nibiru goes through, fucks our planet up. It fucks up our magnetic, our electromagnetic sphere, the bubble we're in, how our shit works, right? They had to remake the grid. They had to remake the grid. They had to restart power, go across this planet. Before this happened, there was no need for Stonehenge. There was no need for all these power grids you see all over, these frequency grids that draw off the natural energy of the earth. There was no need for any of these. There was no need for pyramids. That's not their house. That's not their house. When you say temple, that was their house. We say it's a temple. We go there and worship because that's where they lived. When they walked with the earth with us, that's where they lived. When we want to go visit them and say, yo, man, can you change something in our place? Can you have something done in our town? We had to go to their house and talk to them. And then when they left, we said that was their temple. We would go there and pray to it, and maybe they could hear us or something. We had to burn some steak and shit. But no, they had to recreate the grid, the power grid, the fucking frequency that was on the planet was fucked up. They had to redo it. So when they went to the south, right, they went to South America and they found these fucking mountains that were perfect twin peaks. So they lassoed, you hear them, they lassoed their power grids to these fucking mountains. When they went to the north, Egypt, when they went to Egypt, there was no mountains that they could twin peak it. So Ningazita or whoever the fuck made a mock one. Go to Egypt. You're going to see the small pyramid. And then next to it, he built a bigger one that aligned with the 4 corners. Next to that, he built the even bigger motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And they made it with their power tools. With Anunnaki power tools. No fucking chicken bones. No fucking slaves. The Anunnaki built the pyramids for power. And it would serve as a beacon in the future for everybody to know that's what they did it for. Motherfucker, please. Wait till you hear about North America. You heard Marduk stole the image of a lion, right? He stole that image of the lion as his shit, right? They rebuilt what we know Egypt is, right? They built that shit in North America, all in the Grand Canyon, bro. All over the whole fucking North America. South America was a huge mine where slaves were, but go ahead, baby. I just wanted to get you in the realm to know what the fuck's happening, because like they literally had to redo the power grid, and all over the place they were putting up fake mountains. We know them as pyramids. We can't figure out what the fuck they were for. They were for power, literally. That's crazy.
By the Anunnaki, with their tools of power, were its stones cut and erected. Beside it, in a precise location, the peak that was its twin he placed.
Boom.
With galleries and chambers for pulsating crystals, he designed it. When this artful peak to the heavens rose, to place upon it the capstone, the leaders were invited.
So there you hear crystals. Crystals powered the pyramids. Don't ever get it fucking twisted. There ain't no fucking this or that. It was crystals.
Of electrum, an admixture of Gibil fashion was the apex stone made.
Electrum.
The sunlight.
Frequency metal. Sorry.
Of electrum, an admixture of Gibil fashion. By Gibil fashioned.
Man.
Was the apex stone made. The sunlight to the horizon it reflected. By night, like a pillar of fire it was. The power of all the crystals to the heavens in a beam it focused. When the artful works, by Ningazita designed, were completed and ready, the Anunnaki leaders, the great twin peak entered, and what they saw, they marveled. Ekur, house which like a mountain is, they named it. A beacon to the heavens it was, that the Anunnaki, the deluge survived and prevailed forever, it proclaimed. Now the new space of the celestial chariots gold from across the seas can receive. From it the chariots to Nibiru, the gold for survival shall carry. From it to the east, where the sun on the designated day rises, they will ascend. To it in the southwest, where the sun on the designated day sets, they will descend. Then Enlil, by his own hand, the Nibiru crystals activated. Inside, eerie lights began to flicker. An enchanting hum the stillness broke. Outside, the capstone all at once was shining, brighter than the sun it was.
Wow.
The multitude of assembled Anunnaki a great cry of joy uttered. Ninmah, by the occasion, was moved. A poem recited and sang. House that is like a mountain, house with a pointed peak. For heaven, earth it is equipped, the handiwork of the Anunnaki it is. House bright and dark, house of heaven and earth. For the celestial boats it was put together, by the Anunnaki built. House whose interior with a reddish light of heavens glows. A pulsating beam that far and high reaches, it emits. Lofty mountain of mountains, great and lofty fashioned. Beyond the understanding of earthlings it is. House of equipment, lofty house of eternity. Its foundation stones the waters touch. Its great circumference in clay is set. House whose parts are skillfully together woven. The great ones who in the skies circle to a resting make descent. House that for the rocket ship is a landmark with unfathomable insides. By Anu himself is the Ekur blessed. Thus did Ninmah at the celebration recite and sing.
Imagine all those names. That's like Rocky Balboa coming out. You know, saying all the names and shit, and how glorious. She was so taken back by this building. That, what does that tell you? That tells you that's not their normal architecture. Making those pyramids was not a normal thing for them. They just did that to reboot everything on this planet. So that tells you straight up that in Nibiru, they don't build pyramids. Okay. I've read documents and other writings about the truth, you know, shit about they have Anunnaki records of Nibiru. They state that they grew their spaceships and their houses out of crystal. Bro, tap me in, bro. I want some of that. Just let me know it's that much, please. It's just amazing. You got on there.
While the Anunnaki, their remarkable handiwork, were celebrating, Enki to Enlil, words of suggestion said, when in future days it will be asked, when and by whom has this marble been fashioned? Let us beside the twin peaks a monument create. The age of the lion, let it announce.
Oh, shit.
The image of Ningazida, the peak's designer, let its face be. Let it precisely toward the place of the celestial chariots gaze.
Okay, now stop right there. So Twin Peaks, there's a lion. So that marked what age it was. What age those pyramids were built in the age of the lion. So we got to go way the fuck back and figure that shit out. But then also, instead of a fucking lion head, there was never a dog head, never anything head. They carved the head specifically into who?
Into Ningazida.
Ningazida's face.
Who designed the entire pyramid system.
Yes. So there you go. That whoever that look is right there on that pyramid, that is the look of the actual extraterrestrial named Ningazida, right? That's just amazing right there. Boom, they tell you that. Right? Some of you might think there's big ass huge pyramids in Bosnia and shit like that. We're going to get there, trust me. But like I said, they didn't build the lion there with the head. It was built in Egypt. You know, they did build it other place too over here in North America. That was Marduk though. Rah.
When, by whom, and the purpose let it to future generations reveal. So did Enki to Enlil suggest. To the words Enlil consented, and to Enki said, of the place of the celestial chariots, Utu must again the commander be. Let the gazing lion precisely eastward facing with Ningazida's image be. When the work to cut and shape the lion from the bedrock was proceeding, Marduk to his father Enki words of aggrievement said.
Remember that she read to you guys that the purpose of this thing was to mark what age it was, to commemorate or to show you whose idea it was, and they pointed it directly right at the place of the spaceships, the chariots, right? So these are things that were lost to time, lost to your knowledge that I want you to remember. It's saying they were supposed to be remembered for all fucking time. That to me is a crime and a sin against fucking humanity right there. Against what you say God is. Said that these things were supposed to be remembered for all time. Why don't I fucking remember the birth mothers' names? Why don't I remember the true names of what you say the fallen angels were? Why don't I remember for all times that this fucking thing pointed at goddamn Jerusalem? Why don't I remember that that was a fucking landing spot? Why don't you tell that about your God? That's what pisses me off about what you're supposed to know and what you're not supposed to know. These things were said by God, who you say is God, right? They're supposed to be remembered for all time. So then fucking remember them for all time.
Don't pick and choose what we want or what you want us
The
to remember.
fuck?
Marduk to his father Enki words of aggrievement said, to dominate the whole earth to me did you promise. Now command and glory to others are granted. Without task or dominion I am left. In my erstwhile domain are the artificed mounts situated. On the lion the image mine must be.
Ooh.
By these words of Marduk, Ningazida was angered. The other sons were also annoyed. By the clamor for domains, Ninurta and his brothers were also aroused. Lands for themselves and devoted earthlings everyone was demanding. Let not the celebration a contest become, Ninmah amidst the raised voices shouted.
Remember, this generation, millennials. These are the millennials. Marduk's not. He's one of the firstborn sons, but the others are millennials. All his younger brothers and sisters and shit, they're like, oh, wait a minute. All this land's up for grabs? There was tons of land now. Everything you see now was what was available then.
The earth is still in havoc. We Anunnaki are few. Of the earthlings, there are only survivors. Let Marduk, Ningazida, of the honor not deprive. Let us Marduk's words also heed. So did Ninmah, the peacemaker. to the contending leaders say, for peace to prevail, the habitable, why couldn't I say that? The habitable lands between us should be apart set, Enlil to Enki said. To make the peninsula an uncontested divider, they agreed. To the peacemaker, Ninmah, they it allotted. Tilman, land of the missiles, they named it. To earthlings it was beyond bounds. The habitable lands to the east thereof to Enlil and his offspring were set apart. For the descendants of 2 sons of Zusudra, Shem and Japhet, therein to dwell. The dark-hued landmass that the Abzu included to Enki and his clan was for domains granted. The people of Zusudra's middle son, Ham, to inhabit it were chosen. To make Marduk their lord, of their lands the master. Enki to appease his son suggested.
Can we go back right to the beginning of that thing? Because this is so important, right? You heard what the fuck they said. The Abzu land was granted to Enki and his clan. Then Ham went to a different place. Ham went to a different place. So if they say Ham went to Africa, and that's not where Lord Enki was, he's in the Abzu, bro. Him and his people. Oh, the Abzu's not in Africa. See what I'm saying? Go ahead, baby.
Did you want me to reread?
Yeah, reread that for a second. So I want you to
sure which part you want me to read.
the whole thing. Go from here.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay. To make the peninsula an uncontested divider, they agreed. To the peacemaker, Ninmah, they it allotted. Tilman, land of the missiles, they named it. To earthlings, it was beyond bounds. The habitable lands to the east thereof, to Enlil and his offspring, were set apart. For the descendants of 2 sons of Zusudra, Shem and Japhet, therein to dwell. The dark-hued landmass that the Abzu included to Enki and his clan was for domains granted.
Dark-hued lands.
The people of Zusudra's middle son, Ham, to inhabit it were chosen. To make Marduk their lord, of their lands the master, Enki, to appease his son, suggested.
So Ham did go there.
By your wish, let it so be, Enlil to Enki about it said. In Tilman, in its mountainous south, an abode for Ninmah, his mother Ninurta built. Near a spring with date trees, a verdant valley, it was located. The mountain peak Ninurta terraced, a fragrant garden for Ninmah he planted. When all was thus completed, a signal to all outposts on earth was given. From the mountain lands across the ocean, whirlwinds the gold nuggets brought. From the place of the celestial chariots to Nibiru, the gold was lofted. On that memorable day, Enlil and Enki to each other said and agreed, let us, Ninmah, the peacemaker, with a new epithet name honor. Ninarsag, mistress of the mountain head, let us name her. By acclamation was Ninmah the honor given. Henceforth, Ninarsag, she was called. Praise to Ninarsag, on earth, the peacemaker. In unison, the Anunnaki proclaimed.
Is that it? Oh, wow, that was amazing.
That was a long one this time. So you dig in, baby.
That was amazing. So I might have had it wrong. Ham did. It did sound like Ham did go with Lord Enki. But so check this out, man. This is a pretty amazing one here with the flood. So we got. Oh, yeah, it's all the way over here, man. Shit.
You've been note taking.
A couple pages of shit. All right, so check this out. We start off with the beginning. So Adapa's line serves as royalty. So you hear that. So it doesn't they don't become the royalty. They serve. They're still serving a purpose, right? As royalty. So royalty is meant to keep us in line. That's what it is. So the Anunnaki needed somebody to keep us in line. So they put royalty in charge of us. And later they put religion in charge of the royalty. It's insane. I know. Okay, so just remember that. So Adam's line, when you hear of Adam and Eve, now they were put to serve as the royalty for humanity. They were the king and queen of the planet. There was no this land and my land and your land. There was the planet. There was humanity. We were one people. Obviously, they didn't know about all these people underground mining and shit. Like, imagine a big flood comes and those people don't know shit. You know how many people are underneath the ground? That it's insane. Like, they're digging up giants and they're like, oh, there's giants and shit. No shit. There's fucking tons. They're all got fucking flooded. They all got drowned out by the flood. We're going to get to that shit. I wish we had a longer period of time where we could really cross-reference all this stuff, but we're going to do this in the future in segments because the mud flood is evident here. It talks about it, right? So we got Zasudra, right? Zasudra is the son of Lord Enki. So Lord Enki came to one of Methuselah's daughters or whatever the fuck it was, Methuselah's kids. And it says in the Bible that God turned himself into a swan, I believe it was, and had sex as an animal with this fucking woman. In this tale, it says that Lord Enki saw her at a fountain, caused his phallus to drip, and you know when the pre-cum comes to those guys, they was banging. Their dick was hard. There was pre-cumming. They was getting it in. That, you know, he has the holy seed. He has the blueprint, baby. He has that. When you think of something that's like you got a breeding project going on, you got that shit up on the shelf, and that's your prized possession. That's what he owned in his body. You know what I'm saying? He produced this. So when he made kids, they were the purest of the purest. They were the top of the line for the human race, right? No other Anunnaki, none of the other ones had this specific creation power. Why? Because that was what they created people with, his DNA. So when he would find people and bang them, and they all did, they made tons of people. The women did, the men did. They made tons of demigods. We know them as demigods. So he created Zasudra, and that's Noah for those times. Now, way before this, we got all kinds of people in history, you know, like Achilles and all these other people. Was this before or after the flood? There's 15,000 years after the flood and Jesus. So, you know, there's plenty of time that could happen of all this other stuff, like Hercules. You know what I'm saying? So, Nergal, he's one of Lord Enki's sons. He's known as Lord. Oh, no. That's Lord of the Underworld, okay? Oh, it's say. Oh, yeah, Nergal's Lord of the Underworld. So at the time, he would have been known as like Satan or the devil. You know what I'm saying? As we think of him, red horn sitting on a throne or something like that. But no, he's just like the leader of the people that live in the inner earth. That's inner earth they're talking about. When they say underworld, there's no flat earth. There's no underneath. There's like this fucking pit of lava and fucking, well, there is in the earth, there's lava and shit, but there's also oceans. How could there be lava and oceans at the same time? Because, you know, in California, it's treacherous. And in Florida, I turn purple. It's so fucking hot. But up here in Michigan, it's beautiful. How could that be in the same little area? Well, that's exactly how it is in the inner earth. You know what I'm saying? And then there's other pockets that they've carved out. Now, you heard her just say that when they activated the pyramid, and y'all saw they had those watches. That watch, if you look at what that picture is, that's a frequency picture. That's a vibration. That's an actual, they're showing you that circle held a certain vibration. So they said with Lord Enki's touch, right? The crystals vibrated with such brilliance that the light that shot out of this fucking mountain of mountains, the house like a mountain, a pyramid, right, was brighter than the sun. That's how they, black hole sun, baby. That's how they they light up the fucking caverns and shit. That's why in every single cavern you're gonna see when they really uncover the truth about Antarctica and not all this supposed stuff and people say this, and when they tell us the truth, you're gonna see that all these pyramids light the fucking way. They light shit up. They beam to space, baby. And when you come in from space, them spaceships can go right to it. There's a landing spot right there. The huge motherfucking lion shows you where to go land. They don't need lights. They don't need like the strip and shit. Here, go land right there. Boom. And then right there, they'd have all the cities and shit. So there's this guy named Galzu. He's the mystery emissary that keeps showing up. He showed up in person in physical form. Now, they know him as some old dude from Nibiru, but supposedly Galzu says he went to school with Nimma. Now, whether that be the same age or he's saying maybe he studied under the same shit she studies under, like the frequency and stuff like that. Like she was the sucker healer frequency person. You know what I'm saying? She was the witch. She's the witch. Like Inanna, she's the witch. They were witches. They were all witches. Witches and wizards, man. Some were more military wizards, but they still had all that power and they knew it. And once they tapped in, they were like, no, bitch, I'm God. And they were like, oh, God damn, motherfucker. Because they had military power too. So they was like way stronger, you know what I mean? So he shows up a couple times. Both times, it was to steer the hand of the Anunnaki to somehow keep humans around. Let us be here. By destiny, they say. Not by fate, by destiny. They say that humans were supposed to be here. So for some reason, the God frequency, the God vibration wanted humans to always be created, it says. Or possibly it was the fluke that happened and he just sat back and was like, oh shit.
Thumbs up to that. We're keeping them.
Yeah. That's kind of cool, bro. Look what you guys just did.
Bravo. We're keeping them.
I kind of like this, but let's see what happens. Well, that's cool. You knocked out all those other ones that were eating the little ones. Let's keep these little ones. They're kind of cool. They fit in real good. We cut down all those big fucking trees that make people ask questions. Let's go with this world. This kind of looks cool, man. Let's let them go. Each time they bring the stylus, the God pen, the vibranium, bro. Let me get some vibranium. That's frequency metal, a vibrating metal in a crystal. It's like a little lightsaber, bro. They can carve right up in crystal, right? Transcribing crystal. So this dude comes up. Now, is Galzu God? Now, these Anunnaki, they're not God. They're not God. Do they have God power? Well, if I had magic, baby, if I could do magic, would you call me God? The things you talk about Jesus did, that's magic. That's magic. If you really know your magic and you could, if I can manifest an apple in my hand, baby, trust me, I can put your ear back on your fucking head. That ain't nothing. You know what I mean? That's magic. They knew magic. God is this. That's that, man. God said, let there be light. In the darkness, this was already all there. We're all this. We're all this. Pushed together, vibrating so fucking nicely that I look like this. She looks like this. We vibrate like this. You know what I mean? That's the God out there, right? So like he steps in form, physical form, and says, hey man, don't do this, don't do that. Make sure this happens. And then comes back again in a dream vision and says, yo, you know that sun you made right there? You know, I know Enlil's right. He said Enlil's right. You know, they keep coming to him as a dude they know, like a dude that's supposed to be
a familiar, the
speaker for King Anu of their father, right? And he keeps coming to him in dreams and shit with the stylus and the fucking the crystals, the lapis lazuli, and saying, look, make sure I know Enlil's right, but look, man, by destiny, these humans gotta survive. So take it into your fate. So into his hand, because he could have said no. He could have said no, but they believe that this is the creator of all. They know that they're not God. They believe that this dude that keeps coming to them for some weird reason is the creator of all. So they're listening to him. So whoever this Galzu is, and I'm kind of thinking if what we think is God, if God believed God told them to keep humans around, I'm going to believe Galzu is possibly God, is possibly the creator of the Anunnaki. You know what I mean? And if you created the Anunnaki,
You can depict yourself in any way.
you know, I'm just saying that they live on a sun that came from the sun. It says the S-U-N from the S-O-N, or the S-O-N from the S-U-N. The S-U-N, what we see burning in the sky right now today, gave birth to a planet, birth to a sun, a male celestial form. And dude, if you follow Mud Fossils, he'll show you how planets are creating motherfucking children and about to spit out and make, I mean, it sounds crazy, but so does when they talk about when the flood came and everything turned to clay. And then you go watch Mud Fossils and you look at these walls that they built, right? And they say, how did they get this look? It looks like it was melted, but even craftsmen today couldn't do it. But listen, if you had huge giants, all the living creatures were clay and they were huge. I mean, giants, all I have to do, and they were clay. They turned to clay. All I have to do is go over there and chop out a little section. It's wet clay, bro. It's like potting clay. I'm going to put it up there. I'm going to get the next one, put it up there. Once I get a whole bunch, they're going to smush down a little bit. They're going to make that little bubble mold fold. They're going to all blend and mold perfectly together, solid. When those bitches dry, I could even take fire possibly and fire killing those fuckers. They're going to turn into diorite motherfucking walls. They're going to be so strong, ain't no Anunnaki going to get through my shit, baby. Bro, Mud Fossil shows this story.
Post-flood stuff.
This story tells that this is what the Anunnaki saw. They said all living things turn to clay. Everything they saw got covered by mud and silt. Those are different sediments, bro. Listen, clay, mud, silt. All the shit got covered with clay and silt, or mud and silt. All the living creatures turn to clay. That's easy to cut that up and mount that, cut that, mount that here. Let's fashion this like this. Let's cut that real quick. Everything would be so fucking straight, dude. Phew, like laser straight, bro. It wouldn't even be hard. That would be the easiest fucking thing to do. And that's the thing that people don't even think about. Like, you're thinking about hard ass motherfucking stone. Well, we don't make pottery with hard ass fucking stone. We make it with soft clay and we mold it. How do you get a giant footprint in granite? How do you get a giant hand growing like this in granite? They weren't that strong. There was no frequency that melted that rock. That rock was soft when they did that shit, right? So we got Galzu. That's possibly God. I mean, I'm thinking as the creator of all right there, stepping in, guiding the fucking path. You know, humans are around now because of that. Now we got a navigator for shit. I forgot to write his fucking Ninagal. That's why I had Nergal up there. So Ninagal is the navigator, one of Lord Enki's sons picked. He was called Lord of the Sea. I don't know why I fucking have this. I must have
you wrote it down.
I did. Oh, Nergal, Lord of the Great Waters, was the pilot. So he piloted this boat. It wasn't even a boat. It was a submersible. So it could toss and turn in the great fucking flood. There's a wave coming. This wave's going to be a tidal wave, baby. They said they saw it from space. It touched the outer atmospheres. You know what I'm saying? It was up in the clouds, motherfucker. Yeah! So it washed everything away. everything was washed away off the earth. Some things were left there. Now we see in South America, on the highest peak in South America, there's this place that looks, they can't figure out, it's got H blocks there. They can't figure out how it was destroyed. It doesn't look like it was blown up, but that was the flood. Phew. Top of that bitch like crazy. They even said that it was all toppled. Nothing was left. They couldn't find any of their shit. None of their cities were left standing.
The only thing
left was
their
platforms that were made with huge fucking stones.
Just one. Though.
Well, one
that was visible.
That was the visible one. You know what I'm saying? And that was the one that was in the Cedar Mountains, right? The original land and place where I believe Lord Enki created his thing. You know what I'm saying? It could be possibly the one in Jerusalem. But Jerusalem was the place of the rocket ships where they would shoot the fucking rockets off into space and get the gold off. That's why the lion is facing the place of the rocket ships, not the place of the landing, right? So the landing is where Enlil went and built the fucking, what's that place? The Temple of Baal. He built the Temple of Baal. That's not what it was. It was original landing spot. If you go look at these places, they go, how the fuck did humans lift these rocks that were 100 fucking tons? And they always put up there in comparison of what that would be like in cars and elephants and whales and all kinds of stupid shit, you know, and show that no people can lift that. Giants could totally lift that. And for a long time, I believe that giants lifted that until I read deeper and learned deeper that nope, no giants lifted that. Anunnaki did this shit. Most of the time, it was their spaceships. They literally have tractor beams. They picked it up. Now, in other writings that we're going to read with her, Amber Lilana, the hippie witch, beautiful. She's going to read that in South America, they have a tale. You know, they said that their god, a great winged bird, flew over to a mountain and grabbed these big, huge rocks and flew over here and built this fucking pyramid. Well, that's their spaceships cutting the rock out, tractor beaming it, and putting it in place. And they, side by side, we're going to read them talking about it, and the Native Americans, the indigenous South Americans talking about the great birds that did this. And then Anunnaki are going to talk about how they built the shit and how they went over here and mined the shit out with their. It's so great. I'm like, oh my God, this is so crazy to like see this exact piece side by side. Though on this one, you're gonna die of that. So Mount Salvation is where Noah landed, and he didn't land there himself. He had a pilot that put a damn sail on the submarine after it tossed and turned and shit. Okay, so it's a sub, not a boat, and it was seeds. It was seeds of life, not animals. Now, we did hear that when they opened the doors and there was all the people standing out there, and he said, hey, anyone that wants to live, get in this boat before that fucking wave comes. And they're like, just shut the fuck up, dude. You're full of shit. Ain't no wave coming. It don't rain around here. All the trees are gone. Now, if you don't know anything about cutting of the trees, we can go real deep into that, and you can do experiments. Just go into some place where it's got real deep woods, cut the fucking trees down. See what happens to that fucking chunk of land. It's going to die and dry out. Look at the deserts, man. Look at all those fucking places over there. They talk about these were the Cedar Mountains. Jerusalem is the Cedar Mountains, bro. Like Jerusalem, right where the Temple Rock is, the Dome of the Rock, that is the fucking Cedar Mountains. Lebanon even talked about it. That's where that's the place of the rocket ships. But then Enlil flew over a little bit and created a house of cedars. Remember that? That's where he's like, then I'm going to build a landing spot here where we can come and just land here forever, for all times. This is where our spaceships, like the luxury cruise ships, can land here. The important people can land over here.
Yeah.
The work went over there.
VIP spot.
Yeah, he was up in the mountains, like right by Afghanistan kind of shit, right? But the Cedar Mountains, that all those mountains were covered in giant cedars. They were down in the valleys. Is where they came out from the water. They looked up and said, oh, there's a whole bunch of fucking, all those mountains are covered in trees. And then when they went there, they ain't never seen trees that tall in their life, which you go there now and there's 300-400 foot tall trees. You know what I mean? Cedar trees. There's only a few left. They've cut them all fucking down.
And that's even after the flood.
Yeah, after the flood. Those survived. Those survived the flood. Little seeds and shit here and there. Fires happen. Things propagate, right? We got redwoods that survived, But redwoods aren't even as old as we're talking about here because the flood, I recorded it to be about 15,000 years ago. But then I stopped. I kind of stopped at the age of Jesus and didn't go any further because, they say from the age of Jesus to now is like 2,000 years. I really think that's a fucking lie too. We got to figure out what it was because Jesus wasn't even fucking born when they were saying he was. If this is correct and this is what it was, you know what I mean? We're going to find out the truth of all that coming down the way. So Noah knew he was talking to Lord Enki, like he knows his voice. He was like, Father, hey, what's up, man? He was like, no, not talking to you, man. I'm like, I'm just out here smoking a doobie. I'm talking to this Reed Wall. But make sure you hear this, though. He's out there like, I'm going to see if this works. Imagine. They all smoke weed, bro. They didn't smoke weed. They rubbed oil and stuff. Yeah, they all got high.
They ate.
They was drunk. They was high. They ate mushrooms. They was tripping balls. They was all fucked up.
They were enlightened like a motherfucker.
Imagine they came here and the world, the sun and the moon going up and down, the world spinning like it did. That drove them crazy. So the only way they could get away from that was to get fucked up. Literally, ask them. If I ever meet these motherfuckers, bro, I got questions. I want to know, were you guys always fucked up when you was doing all this shit? Because for real, like I understand like the radiation and the moon and the sun and the spinning of the planet, it probably drove you guys crazy where you had to escape into some fucking good shit. But like,
how many decisions were based off of sheer fucked upness?
Yeah, inebriation. Like, I mean, look, if I was there at the table, bro, I'd be like, listen, man, these humans are pretty cool, man. Because listen, they literally didn't have to do a fucking thing except walk places sometimes. Probably they had people that carried them. They had people to wash their butts. Remember that coming to America? Your royal penis is clean, your highness. Where the fuck you think they got that shit from? Everything we know, the Anunnaki taught us. It says it everywhere. Every book will tell you that God taught us, right? This tells us who God is, who they say God is.
Where things have. So one of the things, and I'm not sure if you wrote this down, and it's a little further into it.
Yeah,
but when it was Noah's turn to button up the hatches, that I thought was amusing to hear because that's been around since then.
Yeah. Yeah. What's cool is you got to hear how he made the boat, where he made the boat. He didn't make it where he lived. He said he went to the domain of Lord Enki and started making his boat. So he started cutting all the trees down, gathering all the people from over there, right? So he
made an excuse for people to help him.
Yeah, made an excuse for people to help him. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Ark, a secret of the Anunnaki. So he told Noah specifically, or the Reed Hut, make this boat. Make it be a submarine so it can toss around. Make it completely sealed so no water can get in. I want to know where the oxygen comes from. That's what I want to know. 40 days, 40 nights, animals in there. Now, like you said, oh, I forgot this part. So he opens the boat doors and he says, hey, man, let's just go from here because it's coming. So the Lord Enki says, keep this boat a secret. Don't let any other Anunnaki know. He didn't say humans. He said, don't tell the other Anunnaki because, like, you guys ain't supposed to be alive. after this. You're supposed to be dead. You look hot, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And he also says that Noah was the wisest, okay, of this civilized man, even over Adam. Remember, Adam had died, okay, years ago. So Noah was the wisest of the civilized man. Why wouldn't Methuselah be? Methuselah was the magician, the wizard, right? He knew a lot. But see, he didn't have the Lord Enki blood. He didn't have the next. He was washed down the line of Adam. So he was getting, whatever. He still had lots of power, but, take Methuselah and add Lord Enki in, and then you had Noah. So Noah was like this all-powerful, all-knowing wizard motherfucker. Like, he was super duper duper. Okay? So he had like 3 times the amount of Anunnaki that any of them else had. Like, you know what I mean? That was pretty cool. So he was the wisest of the civilized man. Okay? And the boat was built in Enki's domain. 5 days to build the boat. Now, here's the thing. Lord Enki's telling the story. He's telling a story about Noah, but he's telling the story that he's telling. So in 5 days was our time. Now, they show in the movie of Noah, which is completely way off this story, but they show that these angels fell to the ground, became these rock things or whatever, but they became earthbound is what it's showing you there. They're rock, right? And they're earthly now. They can't ever go back to wherever they came from. They're earthbound is what I depict from that. And they're giants. They're huge. So it's showing that Noah got help from giants, right? So the truth is in there. Noah got help from giants. Noah's giant in the first place. I think his bed was like 18 feet tall. His wife was like 15 feet tall, I think it was. They found like these evidences of things. So he got help from giants. Like, could giants really build this fucking boat of the biblical dimensions you guys know about in 5 fucking days? Or 5 times 30 equals 150. Now, so in the Anunnaki, 1 day was 30 days.
Was to 1 month.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So in 150 days, possibly. You know what I'm saying?
Go either way, because I could see giants doing a boat in 5 days. I could see that happening if he was ushering them into, like, get your asses moving, because his excuse that he was told to make was that the gods and Lil Enki are upset with them, and they need to
get their ass in gear.
Get their ass in gear, exactly.
And they
it was
said,
all for them.
And they said the giants labored at the trees. Now, when they write our story, will they say that we clear cut forests? Humans cut down all these trees? I mean, sure, maybe we'll go in deep depth of that, but they give us this little thing that the giants labored at the trees. Well, no shit, you got to cut a tree down to goddamn cook, to make a house, to make a fire, to keep warm. Well, no fucking shit. You're going to cut down a lot of trees. And if you're a tall, huge motherfucker, you're going to consume a lot of tree. So that's a weird thing to put in there, unless it meant something specific. Like, they clear cut shit for purposes. So when you look over there now, you're like, damn, it's all desert and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's all this desert area over there. And you know this by my same example. Go out in the forest. If you got a nice forest, just do an experiment. Cut a little small area of all those trees down and watch how that specific ground that used to be nice and moist and fertile and shit, that's going to dry up and die. And all around, it's going to be all beautiful and shit. That's exactly what happened to all that shit. They show it Noah when he's making his boat, and he walks up, and all those tree stumps for every fucking mountain, tree stumps. That's all the trees were gone. That's what they would have had to do. You know,
To
that's a
make
great
the boat as big as that they. Yeah.
Yeah, great depiction. Great depiction of all that for food and everything. I mean, just to have a camp. Imagine the camp it would take to build this fucking boat. I mean, shit. Okay. So, Nergal was the Lord of the Great Waters, was the pilot, right? He could possibly be Poseidon even too. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But we know Lord Enki's being Poseidon. But could it be just that's Lord Enki's blood?
It is.
Maybe motherfuckers just don't even know what happened. I think Lord Enki's the great dweller. He's the great sleeper. He's the one that's going to wake up pretty soon and be like, what the fuck's happening? And when he wakes up, I'm like, yo, bro, I've been waiting for you this whole time. Bless me, man. Just touch me with that fucking frequency power. Let me know the truth. That's all I want to know. Let me just know the truth. Okay, so I'm trying to scroll my fucking notepad up, damn it. All right, so when he opened the doors of the boats, before the flood came, he's like, yo, any of y'all motherfuckers want to come in this boat? Come on. He's like, hurry up. And the animals understood him. Tell me that's not fucking... Tell me. The animals. The animals that were right there. You know, the shepherding ones. The birds flew in 2 by 2 in pairs. They knew. He told them. The animals could talk to us in those days. We could feel them. We understood them. We understood the plants. We knew how they felt. We could understand their frequency. This is written. This is the thing. That's magic. That's what it is. So the animals that were directly right here knew what he was about and said, hell yeah, we want to get saved. We're going to come in here 2 by 2 so our little species could come in. So the little 4-legged animals like gazelles and shit, little deer and stuff, little moose or something like that came in there. But all the other animals, the Anunnaki, couple of them went and collected the seeds from the earth and then the essences of all the animals they wanted to keep in the future. So they didn't go get like the Leviathan. They didn't go get the T-Rex. They didn't go get all these ones that ate fucking people. They didn't get those ones. They got the cool ones. Lions, tigers, and bears, oh my. You know what I'm saying? They got all of this stuff and the stuff that could have been from 15,000 years till now. You know, they could have, sure, they got dragons. Sure, they had dinosaurs. They just didn't have a T-Rex. They didn't let that one keep coming. The bear. They didn't let the shit that really fucked with us. They got a brontosaurus, stegosaurus, the shit we could ride, the shit we could use to plow fields and shit before they made horses and shit, right? Because they made all this. It was under the landing pad. They fucking encased the seeds and crystals, put them on the landing pad. And when it landed, they dug out the sticks and shit. The giant cedars broke up. They broke in the waves in the flood. So they were all covered in the pad. They had to move them out the way and pull it out. And they were like, hell yeah, now we can start creating shit again. All right. So then some craftsmen entered. Some people were like, yeah, I believe you. Let me come up in here. So not only just one family, we have one family, his family, Noah's family, and the pilot, the Anunnaki pilot, the dude go, whoa, it's a big one. Mind you, this thing's flipping. There's animals in there and shit. I mean, they're going to be all fucking dead. 40 days, 40 nights in a boat, airtight. If it's watertight, it's airtight, baby. It's got to be.
Very true.
It's watertight, it's airtight. There ain't no, how the fuck, it's big, but for 40 days, 40 nights, these are big things. And animals, how are you going to control animals to stop breathing? You know, make it breathe every 5 minutes or something. I don't fucking know. Okay. So some craftsmen even come in there. Other dudes, other people and women come up on this boat. How the fuck are they going to live? What are they breathing? Right? Do humans even breathe oxygen? I've gone in that way. What's the percentage of oxygen in each breath? That percentage will blow your mind. What the fuck do we breathe? What do we breathe if it's not oxygen? It's like 12% or 14% or something stupid is what the oxygen is in each breath. Like
So
100% oxygen will fucking kill us.
So we could potentially make a atmosphere that's not oxygen that we can sustain in.
Yeah. Something that has way less. Like there's writings about we really breathe in mana. Energy is what we really breathe. The chemical mixture is just the add-in of the frequency we need to survive. And that's what, when we go into, say, space has, like, the blackness of space has no frequency. When you see this, if you see this color, that's frequency, baby. That's frequency. You see light, that's frequency. Now we go there, we might have to breathe. We might be able to breathe because there's frequency. Right. See, that's just my thing. That's just my thing. That's just my thought. All right, so from the south came the flood, is what they say. From the south came the flood. To the north, okay? We all, like scientists say, the flood came from the north to the south. But here it says the sheets fell from the north into the South Sea because the south rumbled so hard. That tells me Nibiru came and passed the south. And when it passed it, it tipped it. Because look, the Anunnaki flew up into space. Not into space, but they were in our atmosphere, in our clouds. Okay. The waves were so high, they had to go higher. They had to go higher because the wave was so fucking high. They were like, holy shit, we have to go up higher, man. We're going to get fucking hit. And then, so they were up there and they were flying around. Think about this. They said all they saw was water. There was no land. They were flying around the whole fucking thing. There was no land. Nothing survived, right? That was on that fucking surface of that earth, right? But they could not see if land shifted underneath them. This is what I'm saying. Like they wouldn't know. It doesn't tell us exactly what the fucking earth looked like. I'm presuming it was upside down, is what I'm presuming. From what we know today, it was upside down or tilted in such a way where it was nearly upside down. And then Nibiru comes from the south, whatever we look at the planet. And that's what's weird too, is we don't really know what is up and down because we're in space, bro. What the fuck is up and down? Yeah. What if when we were looking at our planet, that's not how it is from the real thing? What if everything else is flipped upside down? Like our whole galaxy is wrong to us. Like, because we're dumb fucking humans.
In our heads, for me, at least in my assumption, we think up and down is down, you know, the south and the north. The south is down, the north is up. That's what our brains perceive. But exactly. Is that what they perceive? It's all perception. It's all, who knows what they see when they come in, what is up and what is down. Exactly.
So that's the whole debate of it in my head as I toss and turn about this all the time. Because, you know, if say like what we think is our north was way tilted, because they said they couldn't see North and South America. So turn that sideways, bro. Turn that sideways and put it up in the north. Don't put it up and down. Turn it sideways and put it up there. And that shit was all covered. And so that would completely put all these islands and everything in such a weird ass position. The bottom was all ice. But what if the bottom ice was all ocean? What if there was nothing underneath that ice and it was just all ocean? And then when it rumbled and crazy because it was ice, and then Nibiru come by this way and it completely melted it, right? And made tons of water. And then the ice shelf crashed into that water and made this huge fucking wave. Like, that's just what I see in my head. And when it did that, when it comes by, they said it shadowed the moon. They said the moon disappeared. Something covered the moon. Did it go between the moon and us? Man, that's close as fuck. That's like a goddamn near miss, baby. That is so close. I don't know. But they said when it did go through it went between us and Mars. It ripped all of Mars's water off, all the rest of its atmosphere, and left Mars as a fucking red dust ball, which we see it today. Uninhabitable. When before it was habitable with just shitty air.
And it had lakes, it had rivers,
Yep.
it had shit. It was able, you were able to be there.
As they wrote it.
So in our flood time, that's when Mars got fucked.
Yep, Mars was
Good
destroyed.
old Nibiru coming through. Fucking shit up. But that makes absolute sense that the entire ocean of that area would be frozen, because that is what would make that much water and that much of an impact. If it were something that was frozen over land, I don't believe that it would be that substantial to make such an impact that it was.
It wouldn't be that much water.
Exactly.
Where'd all the fucking water come from, dude? That's what I'm wondering. Where did all this water come from? Because think about it. We have ice sheets now. Okay. And if they melt, we're just going to get drowned out. Where the hell did all that ice come from before? Imagine it would have to have been, the ocean had to have been frozen, bro. And sucked up all that water in the middle of the motherfucking ocean. You know when you spin the globe and you see that whole big ass ocean right there? Imagine that was the bottom of the planet. They say there was Mu there or something like that. Possibly there was an island over there. You know what I mean? But I'm talking, there's still a big ass motherfucking chunk of ocean. Imagine if that was frozen. Then flip the world, flip that globe to exactly where that would be, down and frozen. That would be the southern frozen land. That's all water. And then all that water would go sucked in. Like, it would make sense how it would be so low, you know? And then later the flood happens, because think about it. It would only have to be that low, and then they could go into the ground and mine and shit. Why is it after the flood they couldn't mine anymore? It was all flooded. It was all those mine shafts were full of water.
Gone.
Full of water. And then everything else all sunk in.
Remember that like there was only a certain number of seas that were deep for them to fly over. The rest of the land masses had marshes almost around. They weren't so deep.
Yeah.
So this water covered everything.
All the way up until now we live on mountaintops. We live on where they would say, go to the Cedar Mountains. We live there. We live there now. Like, we're only a little bit lower. If you go to Lebanon and you stand on flat ground there at sea level, like the Cedar Mountains ain't that fucking far away, bro. We're right there. But in biblical times, they was far shit from the Cedar. That was a far little lofty place. You know what I'm saying? So 40 days and 40 nights. Everything that lived turned to clay. And I gave you my example of how I think they built those walls that they can't explain, of how they were so precisely you can't fit paper through them, because they were soft mud. They were clay. They were living flesh of giants that fucking died, is what they said.
And it hadn't hardened yet.
Nope,
the earth hadn't hardened yet. It was just after the flood. It was soft and malleable, and they were able to build structures quite easily, I imagine, with their little lasers.
Mm-hmm. Now imagine we dig up rocks, we find rocks, and they're all pretty and cool. Now imagine if you could really excavate, you'd find a motherfucking giant laying there, dude. We literally just chopped off a piece of his leg, and we're like, look at this cool fucking rock, guys, I found. And dude, they're literally parts of people that lived then. This is just the truth. Go do the research. Living fossils. You know what I'm saying? You're going to like be blown away. Mud fossils. You're going to be blown away. Giants that lived and died in the flood. Motherfuckers standing with their hands up, bro. You're going to see this shit. You're going to be like, oh my God. You're going to learn how gold trickles down. Your blood is rich with gold. You know, imagine if you're drinking mononuclear gold and eating bread full of mononuclear gold. They literally took mononuclear gold, powder form, mixed yeast and shit with it, made bread. They didn't mix flour with it. The whole thing was fucking powdered gold. They ate it as goddamn food. Bro, do you understand? You would be glowing gold. You'd be pure gold. So when you die and you turn to motherfucking mud and crystal, all that gold's going to fall down to your fingertips. And we see them as gold veins surrounded by motherfucking quartz crystals. And that's the giants, bro. Down their feet, their fingertips and shit. It's just crazy. 40 days and 40 nights it rained, right? So, like I said, it could have been 40 days and 40 nights, human time, right?
But what if?
It could have been 1,200 human days, which would have been 40 Anunnaki days and nights. Maybe that was just my breath. Damn. Maybe I farted. I don't know. But anyway, Modern Genetics, what up, what up, what up? We're talking about Noah right here. So 40 days and 40 nights. It seems all right, but you know what I mean? In the Bible, they always talk about this 40 days, 40 nights fucking thing. But, you know, they talk about also how motherfucking time ticks. And, you know, Anunnaki, normally when they're talking about their time, not the sheeple time. They don't really care about us. Not that much to tick our time. You know what I'm saying? They're ticking their time. I really think 40 days and 40 nights was 1,200 fucking years. It motherfucking rained. Okay? You tell me how people are living in this fucking boat for 40 days and 40 nights, let alone 1,200 days. And none of it could be true. None of it could have happened. They had to have opened shafts. They had to have had air conditioning. They had to have had like oxygen or something. It had to have had something that let them breathe and let them survive. Those animals, they probably fucking shish kebabbed them and made bird and gazelle fucking kebabs and ate them. Like, how would you survive? Like, what happened? And it's not a godly action, you know, because one of God's fucking sons was in there steering that boat. You know what I mean? Then it stopped raining after 40 days, 40 nights, or 1,200 days, which I think it stopped raining, and they were able to open the boat up, and they were like, "Oh shit, man, it's beautiful." The whole goddamn it was water world. It was water world, straight water world, and everything was gone. I'm sure they saw tons of floating bodies. That's one thing they don't talk about, but if I made the movie, there would be fucking floating bodies everywhere, massacre and shit.
You know, I'm not entirely sure because I feel like by that, after 40 days, it's already after the flood has already destroyed things.
God, imagine the creatures would eat them.
Things, I was going to say, things would get beaten and tousled, and you know, things sink. Things sink after a while. So
I'd show
I
a
don't
massacre.
think it would be on the surface, but I mean, I'm sure once things receded rather, you saw some things.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I would show a massacre of these giant prehistoric monsters in the ocean, like Leviathan and shit, coming and eating fucking everything. Oh god, it'd be a fading frenzy, and it would just be blood red water. Oh, it'd be called Blood Red Waters.
Blood Red Waters. Oh, that's the movie.
The story of Noah. Blood Red Waters. Oh my god, we should cartoon the fuck out of that. Now where you at, bro? You want to get rich? All right, so after they land, Ningal, he finds this mountain, Mount Salvation, which is still out there today, and he steers over to it, and they land. When then Noah gets out, he praises Lord Enki so highly for his survival for this fucking thing, because he realizes, he looks around and there's nothing is left. Imagine that. You just kind of like, yeah, it's whatever. It's cool. And then you realize afterwards that every fucking thing is gone. Everything you knew, gone. Like that, just, we can't even think about it because it's not there.
Fathomable.
It's not there. But just imagine everything's gone. Everything. Nothing's there. Not just like people. Nothing is there. Nothing. The animals, every fucking thing is gone. And you can only see water because there's just one mountain.
The reality of it all.
So he praises Lord Enki. Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm going to fucking make this fucking altar, this fucking thing here for you real quick. So he makes this pillar. And then he grabs fucking his animals that he had coming on there and he slaughters them and sacrifice, because Lord Enki was the sacrifice god. He liked the fucking sacrifice of the meat. You know what I'm saying? He liked to eat good. You know what I'm saying? He loved the barbecue, bro. I mean, he created black people. So he taught them how to barbecue. I mean, what the fuck? That's why they got this skill. There's a show called Barbecue Master. Black dudes always win because Lord Enki taught them how to barbecue. You know what I'm saying? Spread that motherfucking sauce on like this. Put the spices. Lord Enki's the one that flew around the world, got some spices for the barbecue. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit's a little tasteless, you know, a little gamey and shit. Let me go get some spices over here from Morocco and shit. Little from North America. Look at this motherfucking shit I found from North America. Shit. So anyway, so he made this big ass barbecue. Lord Enki and Lord Enlil are over here in this other little mountain peak valley. It's kind of like how you describe Colorado being like, kind of go down the mountain. So they're over here a little bit, and they're like, what the fuck is that? Why do I smell barbecue? Hold up. Wait a minute, bro. You told me none of these motherfuckers were gonna live. Why the fuck do I smell barbecue? And we're the only two that's ever landed here yet. And they're like, let's go take a look. And they fly up over around, land over there. And he's like, oh, you motherfucker. Oh, hell no. No, why? There's a person here, dude. And he literally gets so pissed, he comes at him. And he wants to kill him.
He comes at Ningazita, actually. He was going to kill Ningazita.
Oh, and he wants to kill him. He wants to
kill
him.
He's my son.
Yeah. He wants to kill him. No, he was going to kill Enki. No, he's going to kill Lord Enki. And he says, Noah is his son. That's what he was saying.
Oh, I thought he was lunging for Ningazita.
No, and look, because I read it. Yeah, I did too, because I saw Nergal. But I was reading it too like that. Like Ninagal was saying that he was mad and he was going to lunge at somebody, but Ninagal was the pilot. So I'm like, what kind of trickery they're trying to play? But anyway, they were so pissed. They were about to kill each other, but he's like, no, man. He's my son. Look, he's not just a human. He's actually my son. And then they were talking about Noah. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, oh, okay, cool. Well, oh, wait, we didn't get to that part yet. We didn't get to the part where why Enlil lets it be. We were supposed to read the 10th, the 11th chapter.
Oh, I was going to do that after you were done discussing.
Oh, okay, cool. So she'll read you what's going to happen here coming up soon and why in those days, dudes could live for 54,000 fucking years, and now we can only live for 120. What exactly happened? Why is that the case? Why did Noah supposedly in the Bible live for 980 years? Why is that the case? And now we can only live for 120. What happened? What did they do? Well, it's probably the same motherfucking thing they did to why motherfuckers can't grow a beard. They knew genetics, man. And they fucking tweaked us like little rat labs or lab rats, whatever it is. So Enlil wanted to kill Lord Enki or Nergal, whatever one of the case may have been. They wanted to kill each other. And then they said it was cool. Ninmah gave an oath, though. She gave an oath. And then said that this kind of tragedy would never again happen to humanity. Never. That they would save us. Whether they take us on their spaceship, whether they divert whatever tragedy that's coming our way, but they will never again let us perish in the way that they didn't tell us. They didn't tell anybody that this shit was going to happen.
They let us get wiped out.
Let them get wiped out.
Unknowingly. And watched it.
So Ninmah, the creator of people, she's the mother. She's the ma'am. She's the ma'am. Yes, ma'am. When you say God's a woman, God's a woman. She stuck that fucking clay shit up in her vagina and spit out the first people. You know what I'm saying? That was the key. The key to creation was her and Lord Enki, but her, without the female, there would be nothing. There would be no us. You know what I'm saying? You can't have only masculine. The darkness is the female. When you say the light is the male in creation, the darkness held all of creation. So the darkness is the female. See what I'm saying? So it's not, the darkness isn't a bad thing. The darkness is where all of creation is, just without form, without the frequency, without the vibration. You know what happens when you give the female the vibration, right? She creates some shit. It's just the truth. So Nimma, please save us. You know what I'm saying? You know, we got Nibiru's coming through. It's coming through again. It's going to come through one more time. It's going to be close to us. Is it going to do some shit to Mars again? You know, we got people that want to go to Mars and stuff. Like, what's going to happen? Is it going to send a rogue comet our way? You know, could that rogue comet could be deflected, anything like that. But if the planet comes back again, man, and are they still getting gold from us?
Ha.
That's my question. You heard after the flood, the need for gold was even more greater.
Fuck them up too.
Yep, fuck them up. It fucked them up. It ripped the gold off their planet. So gold just flew off into space.
Atmosphere be gone again.
Yep.
Damn it. Back to square one.
So as they're flying around, they notice the Earth is covered. It's buried in mud. All that they created was buried in the mud. Okay. Dumuzi, it just throws out little key pieces. Dumuzi was named the Great Shepherd. What's the name of Jesus? What's Jesus's true name? You know what I'm saying? I ask people all the time, and they think I'm crazier than a coot. But I'm like, let's follow the truth. It says Dumuzi was named the Great Shepherd, just like Jesus. That was the shepherd. Okay. He dies and runs the story, exactly the story of Jesus. I mean, exactly the same story, right? And I believe it was Dumuzi. He's the Gen X, or I mean, the millennial that would have went around and went like, this is fucked up. Why are they telling us we can't tell them the truth? No, that's bullshit. No, the path to God isn't to pray to my dad or to my uncle. You have to fucking know how to fucking go with the vibration, bro. You have to align your chakras and ascend to the fourth dimension. That's the true path to Jesus. That's the true teachings of whoever you call Jesus, Dumuzi. I believe that he really walked with people and was like, yo, check this out. This is what the truth is. Don't let them fool you, man.
This is how to be spiritual.
Yeah. He taught
how to.
That's what he taught.
Feel the higherness.
That's what he
taught.
That is what he taught before his father called him forth from the desert. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to find out where the desert was, because the desert was all their homes, the homes of the Anunnaki. But they had healing centers where they were learning how to become monks and yogis. See, Jesus, true Jesus, was a master yogi. And I believe that's Dumuzi. And he went to all these places, and you're going to hear where you heard where they went. They went to different places, right? So they went to the east. Over there in the east was where Enlil and his clan went. That was India. So it wasn't until these times, after the flood, that all these lots were separated. Before, Enlil sat up in the sky in a spaceship and directed everything, and would come down and talk shit and fuck with people and bang chicks and make demigods and shit. But he was up in the sky in a spaceship. That's why whenever they had to do something, they had to fly up to his damn spaceship. They talk about it over and over and over again. Okay. Everyone else is on the ground living together as Anunnaki in an Anunnaki city that they made the home away from home. Everything else was everything else that they made for people. And then the flood happened, wiped all that out. And then the waters receded over, they said, 150 years or whatever the fuck it was. And
I don't remember the amount.
Yeah, I don't remember that one either. But then they decided, where are we going to live? We don't like you anymore. They started not liking each other or something like that. Or they came together and like, wait a minute, we can own part of this little piece of land, because
they started talking about it. And they're like, blah, 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 blah.
Everything they created was gone. Mission Earth was over. It was done. So they're like, well, fuck, we can't go home. All we got is this. So like, let's divide this up between us. And they were like, oh, for real? We can do that? Well, what can we get? And they were like, well, you know, that place, we're not mining gold there. All the gold mines were gone. They were totally buried and shit. They weren't willing to unbury them, I believe, because they were full of fucking water.
And I think at this point during this decision, they did not know Nibiru was fucked.
Yeah, they
Yet.
didn't know. They didn't know.
So they're dividing things up, thinking it's just going to be life as normal, ongoing, no more mines.
Yep. And then they decide, that's when they divided everything up. The Muzi become the great shepherd. That was the only part I picked out of that. But a lot of people got to go other places. Then they find out the flood tore up Nibiru and much gold was needed. They're like, bro, we need more gold than before. You guys fucking tore us apart, right? But remember, they had high frequency power going on this planet, so they can launch their ships off of our planet. So all that power like nailed Nibiru too and wiped them out. So all the mines were gone. Okay, no mines were left. Then they go, okay, well, we got to figure something out, bro. All these mines are gone. Like, they're completely buried, and what's not buried is sunken in the water. So what the fuck are we going to do? Like, they couldn't just pump water out. There's nowhere to pump water anywhere. It was all flooded. Where are you going to pump the water? We're going to drown. You know what I mean? So they fly around the world in their spaceships. People say, well, they got in their boats. They didn't. You know how long it would take to sail? God damn, you know how long it would take to sail around the world and figure this shit out and stop on land? No, they're up in the sky with their scanner beams, Mass Effect scanner beams, and they scanned the land and they said, oh shit, dude, look at that big gash in the ground right there from the flood. Like when that fucking
the ice
came down and gashed the fucking big, huge gouge out of the ground. Look, there's gold. I can see it from my spaceship, bro. Huge fucking boulders and shit just flowing down the river. It's a glittery gold fucking river. There's only one place on our entire planet that we can actually see right now today. And they were looking at today's world, you know, as we see it today.
Things shifted at that point.
Yeah. They were looking at the Grand Canyon and they were like, bro, we see gold right there. We're going to land here. And they landed away from it. They were giants. They were huge. So to land in Canada from the Grand Canyon was nothing for them. Imagine there could have been a huge mountain there at the time. We were still not fully knowing anything about the no, what's that motherfucking huge place? Goddamn.
Babylon.
No. There's a place where there's these craters and there's a huge geyser that comes out of the ground. Yellowstone. Yellowstone had to have been a huge volcano at one point. Had to have been. That's like the mountain's gone and there's a volcano there. Because if you look at Yellowstone, it moves across the United States. There's scars in the goddamn geography of where it used to be in different states. So it's moving and it's underneath. There's only one thing that does that. That's a volcano, right? That's how the Hawaiian Islands were built. It's one volcano that's moving, right? So, or a chain, possibly, who knows? But so this is a volcano. And at one point, there could have been possibly a mountain. So this could have been the mountain that was motherfucking there. They maybe mined it. You know what I'm saying?
Took the whole damn thing down for that gold.
Or it could have been wiped out when the flood came. Who possibly knows? You know what I mean? But they found gold in North America. And then when they came over here and made a landing zone, they found the descendants of Cain. Okay? This is where I'm at with it. Okay? They didn't find the descendants of Israel. They didn't find the descendants of the primitive workers. They didn't find the descendants of Adam. They found the descendants of Cain, cursed to be beardless. Okay? That is your indigenous, Native American, South American people. That is them. That is them. The true first inhabitants of these lands put here specifically, taught to build great ships, sailed across the ocean, to land here, to become civilized, taught to build those pyramids that they built. He taught them that. Ningal. And then the same dude, after the flood, went over and built the motherfucking pyramids. They put his fucking face on that motherfucking thing. If you didn't connect that, that's a full connection right there. They had him do that with these other people, the descendants of Cain. Cain was dead. He got killed. Big rock fell on his head. Probably a motherfucking asteroid, right? And say what kind of rock? It's probably an asteroid when they destroyed Central America there. Chichen Itza or someplace. I don't know. I always say that one. But these are those people. The South American, the Aztecs, the Mayan. He was said to build 7 great kingdoms. Be the father or grandfather of 7 great kingdoms. That's the 7 great kingdoms of gold. I mean, I could be thinking small. It could be one of the great kingdoms of say like China. It could go all the way across to the Polynesians. It could come across to the Americans. It could be some of those 7s. I don't know about any of those 7 great kingdoms yet. We can discover that in the future and see who's the king of that. But I think Cain and Abel actually went all the way over to the Pacific, South Pacific. Like there's some shit over there, and it's rumored that 2 brothers built this shit together, and they were worshipped as gods in that spot. And I think that was Cain and Abel themselves coming together and doing some shit way back then. But so they find the descendants of Cain in this area, and they're already civilized. They already know how to mine gold. They've been doing it. They worship
with metals.
Yep, they work with metals.
And know them.
They worship the feathered serpent, which is the same dude that's like, yo, I got people here, man. Look, they survived on this big ass tall fucking mountain. I forget what mountain it is still, but we see it all the time. You love that place in South America. Let me see.
Is it the one in Brazil?
Yeah, on top of that fucking thing.
Yeah. I forget the name of it. It's beautiful.
I don't know what it is. It's not it. What's that one on the top of the mountains? You guys know?
With the statue of Jesus on the top of the mountain, and I think it's Brazil.
No, it's not that one.
Oh, it's not that one? Oh,
No,
which one are you talking about?
It's the one on top of the mountain. Way on top of the mountain. Oh, you motherfuckers.
Naga.
No, that's not that.
No, I'm just reading somebody's comment.
This one right here. Machu Picchu.
Oh, that one.
Machu Picchu, right?
Oh,
Machu Picchu is where they survived.
oh no, it's a green screen. It's not
Machu Picchu. Look up Machu Picchu. This is exactly where the people of Cain, the descendants of Cain, survived the flood in Machu Picchu. I'll put everything on it. This is exactly where they're talking about when they're like, yo, I got people right here on the top of this motherfucking mountain in the clouds, bro. No water touched that motherfucker, bro. They survived there. Like, they didn't fly over there. Obviously, they went over there, maybe, I don't know. But supposedly, people survived under the ground. I don't think so. Not yet. Because we're going to come to a different story here. Story that's never told. Story you probably never heard about. We're not going to give it away on this one. But soon, we're going to hear about the evil wind that didn't come from Attila's ass. You know what I'm saying? So, they found gold in the Grand Canyon. So they came over here, and it says, strictly, it pieces it in there, that Marduk stole the image of the lion. Okay? Well, I don't know why I'd say that. Why would they throw that in there? It's got to piece you in for later. When they talk about Ra, then Marduk takes a wife, an American wife, or a human wife, sorry. You know, I always think American and human is the same thing. But they take a human wife, and they come to America. They come to America. They make America the same as Egypt when they're here, right? So the pyramid capstone is brighter than the sun, built by the Anunnaki. All of it is said they built it. They said they built it with their power tools, There's no chicken bones. There's no slaves. No, nothing like that, right?
Tools of power.
And Marduk takes North America. Now, it doesn't specifically dwell on that, but just know Marduk takes North America because all the rest of them are in South America. Inanna becomes, you all know her, go to Mexican, like what they worship, and they worship a female that's covered in feathers. And she got feathers all fucking like wings and shit. That's Inanna. That's Inanna. She's always been worshipped as this feathered goddess and shit because she could fly. You know, so that's what I got for the notes on this week's chapter episode. Let's see what's up for the last one, and then we'll get the hell out of here.
For next week, we have Tablet 11. And we are looking forward to the spaceport's land. Tillman is declared a neutral zone. It is granted to Ninmah, who is renamed Ninnurzag. Marduk gets the Dark Lands, and Enlilites the Olden Lands. Marduk gets the Dark Lands, the Enlilites, and the Olden Lands. Marduk's grandsons quarrel. Satu murders Asar. Impregnating herself, Asar's wife Asta bears Horus. And aerial battles over Tillman, Horon vanquishes Satu.
Horus kills Set.
The Enlilites deem it prudent to prepare another spaceport.
This is in Atlantic Cannon, I believe.
Enki's son, Dumuzi, and Inanna, Enlil's granddaughter, fall in love. Fearing the consequences, Marduk causes Dumuzi's death. Seeking his body, Inanna is put to death, then resurrected. Inanna launches a war to seize and punish Marduk. The Enlilites break into his hideaway in the Great Mount. They seal the uppermost chamber to entomb Marduk alive. Marduk's wife, Sarpanit, and his son Nabu plead for his life. Ningazida, knowing the Mount's secrets, reaches Marduk. Marduk, his life spared, goes into exile. Enki and Enlil divide the earth among their other sons.
See, they always say the dark-hued lands to the south, and everyone thinks of Africa because, you know, there's dark people there, but their lands are not fucking dark. It's fucking sand. Like, you look at Saudi Arabia, that land's not dark. It's sand. It's desert, right? Flip the world upside down. Make the north the south, right? And we're talking about right above the Middle East, or what we know as Saudi Arabia, Iraq and stuff. That's where you got Germany and all that shit, don't you? Right up there, all these different like whatever the fuck they are, all right there. But it's mountainous, dark-hued lands. If you look at the map, you'll see it. You'll be like, huh? But there's nothing but ocean to the south of what the fuck where they're at talking about it. There's nothing dark-hued down there. You know, so these things make me think, like, where the fuck? How was the earth? Like, what? Why do they keep saying south when it's like, what was south to them? You know what I mean? What, do we know which way our planet is? Do we know? Just because before that we could ever go out that far in space, they would show us what our solar system looked like. How the fuck would they know that if they never went out there and looked? That's what my question's always been. Like, how do they know that if they never been out there? Like, only like they put out that one rover that went out and saw us, looked back and saw the blue ball and stuff.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It is. It is indeed.
So join us next time, everybody.
Yeah. For
another episode of the Ganja Gospel.
I hope everyone was enlightened today.
Yes. Enlightened about the story I know. And supposedly the end times. And people think the end times are going to come again. The old end times. which starts the New Testament. This is what starts the New Testament up here. That's in the Old Testament. And the New Testament's coming. The New Testament is really Jesus's word and the Gospels of the apostles and stuff mark the New Testament. But I really think the New Testament is supposed to be after the flood, when supposedly us people started living. But if it was us people that were the only ones that survived, all of us came from those people. So there was a white guy named Noah and a whole bunch of black people and mixed people that got on that boat. That's what it was. So we're all one people. We're not separated by anything. I mean, if I cut myself and we test the blood, we're going to be the same motherfucking DNA. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there might be a marker of skin tone, melanation in there, possibly, but we're one people, and that's what it always is going to be coming down to. We were created as a tool. This is a tool. This is a tool. They all got different jobs, but I all need them for the same thing. I create them. They're mine. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we were to them, dude. You got to think of that. And we're together in this. Like, we're all brothers and sisters. So on that note.
On that note.
Peace out. Have a great month. Sunday.
Yes, baby.
Smoke that weed up. And enjoy the ride.
Yes, indeed. Till next time.